I see. That's legal. Okay, why do I lick myself
Yeah,
now?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, do you like that? Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
hello, everyone. Welcome to Tea Time, and we're on as usual, perfectly on time and ready to go. And well, there was a pretty interesting patch this week actually, and we had vast repercussions across all game modes, guys. All game modes, amazing, absolutely amazing, and some quite surprising stuff for Wintersday as well, which I cannot wait to get into. Actually, guys, like some great discussions about the Wintersday raid to happen later on, and how impossibly difficult it is. But I think the best place to start is certainly with something that I actually wasn't expecting. I was not expecting there to be a balance patch, a pretty big balance, a pretty significant balance patch at that, actually, as well. Quite a lot of things getting mixed up across, like I said, I guess all the game modes again. So I think that's probably the best place to start. And you know what? Okay, there's one change that I think everyone is talking about, and there's one change that is probably the most significant one. Okay?
Chrono is dead.
And that is one of the reasons why we have Mesmer expert SC Nico here as well. Okay. It's Mesmer. Chronomancer. Okay. After how many years? It's finally got the hammer after ever
3 years.
3 years, yeah, since HOT launched.
HOT, yeah, 3 years.
It's been busted OP since then, and finally has got its comeuppance, got its punishment for existing. They tried to nerf it, but they accidentally made it better. But now they did it for realsies this time, and Chrono has been placed in the dumpster where it deserves. Except actually not at all. Now it's just balanced instead.
It's almost stronger than before.
Well, I mean, I think
you do 20k damage and the wounds.
Well, that's
now it just only makes the best 2 boons in the game. Just that.
Well, that's the interesting thing about this patch, actually, isn't it? It's slightly an odd nerf because it does, of course, nerf the amount of boons it actually outputs. But the other thing that happens is that they're trying to push the buffers in a more aggressive direction, right? They're saying, aha, well, now we're going to let you do DPS on your Mesmer as well while buffing people because, aha, you don't need that much boon duration anymore because of the way Signet works, and aha, we want you to, you put that commander gear and berserker gear to good use. So in a way, in a lot of niche uses, particularly for say a more skilled player that doesn't really need the boon duration and doesn't rely on having permanent protection, resistance, and stability the entire time so much, it might end up being even better than before, right? Because you can get extra DPS out on this build as well, because we're seeing a lot of stuff like builds, buff chronos with dueling and no inspiration coming out of here and stuff like that, and because time warp is going to be much more prevalent now, but you might end up seeing more overall group DPS in higher end groups, but in beginner groups, like medium level groups, I think it's a massive nerf. I think it's actually a catastrophe. I didn't realize just how bad this is, but it's pretty bad actually. So a lot of players in the game, well, maybe it's just Salt, especially in my guild. Okay, they're used to being carried by this very overpowered build, and now that it's gone, I have felt the palpable increase in difficulty in raids actually, which amuses me a lot actually. I'm really amazed more people aren't complaining about this. Do you think people were just that bad at Chrono before the patch that they haven't really noticed like how much weaker it is? Or what's actually going on there? What do you guys think about that?
Judging by my experience, yes. Like my Monday change clears in the morning, it'll be the same now. Maybe because I play Chrono now and kind of have to.
Yeah, you're forced to play Chrono.
No, I don't want to have people without boons.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Oh yeah.
The puck fractals this morning. It's unplayable.
Yeah.
You have like quickness 30% of the time.
Well, that's actually a place where
the burst.
Yeah, that's where it's been nerfed a lot, in my opinion, actually. It's kind of funny. That it's always been almost like a problem in raids. Chrono's been really OP in raids. Like, so OP, got permanent every boon in the game. But in fractals is where it really got hit. Because, of course, they not only nerfed the boon output of the Chrono, but they really heavily nerfed the crowd control effects as well, right? And that was a really strong part of Mesmer. Like, I mean, Moa was really, really OP, but they changed Moa from being pretty OP to now like absolute trash. It's quite amusing, actually. But yeah, like Fractals, the first time I did Fractals on Chrono, I thought, oh my god, this is it.
You want to cry.
I will never do fractals ever again.
Yes.
But it's not
You've
that
already
bad.
said that.
I said that. But it's not actually that bad. It's fine. You just have to get used to it. You have to realize that you aren't a god anymore, right? You can't just do whatever you want. You actually have to play the game properly, instead of just face rolling everything. And you know what? I don't usually complain. It's opened my eyes about instabilities, right? Okay, because it Chrono being nerfed changed them from like a minor annoyance that I don't really care about to something that is actually really, really, really irritating. And it's like, oh wow, this really isn't fun at all, is it? Like, oh nice. Now I have to deal with all these stupid mechanics in addition to now playing my gimped class throughout Fractal. So that's kind of it's kind of a sad thing, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. Mesmer got the hammer, and it deserved it, guys. Okay, and it deserved it. But yeah, I'm amazed at how many people aren't complaining about it. I don't know. Oh, maybe am I wrong on this? Nike, you're always on the lookout for people complaining. Have you?
Oh yeah.
Seen any complaints about it?
Sort of, but most of the people that are complaining are kind of dumb. Like there's really okay, so we only had like the OP SOI meta for like 2 months, if that. And before that, you still had to like stand in wells and stuff. It's amazing how fast people forgot that you have to stand in wells. Like, utterly amazing that people were like, what? You have to stand in wells? Like, since when? It's like, that's how Chrono has been for 3 years. Now all of a sudden, and then for like 2 months you didn't, and now they've completely lost that skill. So you see a lot of complaints for that. Like, an example was I was in a Kadim pug on EU, and we were at the legendary Hydra, and the Chrono just kept casting his wells on himself and not even making any kind of effort to put it on the group. And the entire time we got the boss, like the lamp team was ready and the boss was still at like 92% because everyone in the group had like swiftness, 2 stacks of might, and like an Aegis. And I just like told the Chrono, I'm like, you have to put wells on everybody or else it's not going to work. And he didn't get it. So I just eventually quit the group. But it's the well concept is just blowing minds right now. It's a really tough one.
Yeah, and I think that was the previous change to Chrono, right? In like a feverish attempt to nerf it, they made it completely overpowered and also incredibly brain dead, right? Like you don't really have to think about positioning whatsoever with like the Signet of Inspiration spam, right? So that was certainly an amusing change, and now everyone's been brought back down to earth. But in a way, again, now this is going to sound a bit funny. In a way, I almost feel like it's been made a bit easier to play, actually, right? Because I think a lot of people really struggled with dealing with Mimic and using that, especially with Continuum. So I think it was quite difficult for people to kind of get their head around and have a high enough APM. We need another one of those Reddit posts, Nike, about the APM on some builds. It was some people were really, really bad at the Mimic variant, and now you actually get a lot of boons from the wells, right? Like the quickness well is like 10 seconds of quickness, and the alacrity well I think is the same actually. So it's a huge amount of boons now, and there's also a lot of time warps going around. So I don't know. It kind of seems that there's it's almost better, right? It's almost
if
better.
Its job is alacrity and quickness, it's actually better at its job than it used to be. It's just all the other supplementary stuff it's not as good at, like giving out Perma Fury.
Yes.
It's not doing that anymore.
Yes. But, this is a really fascinating thing, and probably my favorite side effect of this patch, right? Is that because you have Chrono removed, you now actually have to think about stuff like Fury, right? Whereas before you just didn't have to think about it because, like, oh, well, Chrono provides literally every boon in the game permanently. Right, I mean that's insane, right? That's pretty crazy. But now you actually have to think, okay, if I want protection, I kind of want, maybe I want a Stone Spirit, or maybe I want something like a heal Firebrand, or a heal Tempest is now great for is great for protection now as well. Actually, there's a lot of different considerations you can make, and it's funny, right? Like, they didn't really change anything about heal Ellie too much. They buffed heal Ellie a little bit of buff. It's fairly significant, I suppose, in raids and Worldless as well, right? And they didn't really change, say, buff, like a boon Tempest, right, where you try and do like Might and Fury on Tempest, or like boon Deadeye, where you try and do Might and Fury on your Deadeye. Like all of these things are now considerably more relevant just because Chrono has been taken down a notch. So I think that the biggest victory from ArenaNet with regards to this balance patch is that they've freed up a huge amount of design space and things that they can do with future professions, right? Or future builds that they want to kind of push, or different archetypes that they want to push. Because before, Chrono was just covering all of them, right? Like Chrono was like, yes, all you need is me, a druid, and then you can just stack as many DPS classes as possible within your raid. But now some of those DPS classes might have to do something except being a DPS class. They might have to also provide a bit of fury, or maybe they can supplement protection or might or something like that. Or stability, right? Whereas, there's no stability share anymore, which is one of the saddest things ever, actually. But, there's a lot of things that are now options, right? There are specific roles that cannot be covered by the Chrono, because that was the biggest problem with Mesmer, was that it just covered everything. It could handle so many roles and do so many things on so many different fights that its reign of power was completely all encompassing, right? There was almost no mechanic that it couldn't figure out a way to handle, right? And that's still actually a problem, actually, in my opinion. That's the main difference between the competitor, right? Okay, the main competitor to Chrono is, of course, Firebrand and Renegade, right? And its main issue is that it just can't handle mechanics as well. Its utility is still inferior to the other support core. But, well, not to ramble on too long here, but I almost think that's intentional. They intend it to be that way because with that comp, they expect your other classes to do more, right? Whereas with the Chrono and the Druid, like those classes handle the mechanics for you. But otherwise, the DPS players have to handle the mechanics. But the thing is, no one's ever going to do that because DPS players and mechanics, it just doesn't mix, man. Like they can't. They can't do it.
It's stupid to do something.
Yeah, they can't do it. All they can do is hit the boss.
And all 5 DH fused to use Bane Signet. Two of them died fully in the end. Nice.
You can't give up that extra
it's
power.
It's gonna be so bad. Jeez.
Yeah. I mean,
testing run, you know what? Toss anything new. Just look at this break buff for like 15 seconds straight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big shock for a lot of players coming into raids that suddenly that break bar you might have to do something about it. You can't just leave it to your druid and your Chrono now, which is absolutely hilarious. I've been having some great times, dude. Some just amazing times in raids recently with people struggling to do fights that would previously been very easy for them. But now that Chrono
like
isn't
the Hydra?
there, like that fucking Hydra, dude. Yeah, that Kadim is now hard. Okay, that's real. Like Kadim is now a hard boss. I have actually seen that the platform, the Patriarch destroy the platform. Okay,
no, that's impossible.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, your Chrono should never have had Moa on that fight anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like Time Warp was already like the elite you should have been using. Like if your Chrono was using Moa, that just means the DPS are just brain AFK. And aren't CCing.
That's why I was playing Moa. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh god.
Yeah. It's necessary because before the patch, okay, if the Mesmer didn't solo break all the things in Assault Run, it just wouldn't break, right? And everyone would die. So it was either run Moa or die.
I mean, usually you just call it out. You're like, okay, CC in like 3 seconds, and then people. That's like just enough warning for people, like the hamsters, to turn on the wheel in their head.
Yeah,
and then they can CC. But
I mean, I'm not. You can't be too careful. You really can't. Okay, safety is certainly paramount. But I know the Mesmer change. It's been a long time coming, and it certainly did deserve it, right? It really did.
I don't worry, they changed it 2 weeks again.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the alarming thing, actually, to kind of bring up that topic, right, is that we have some interesting news from ArenaNet, right, about the direction they want to go with boons in the game in general, right? Just overall. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What do you think about that one, Angeels?
I think they may want to reevaluate that statement they made slightly in accordance with PvP.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Yeah, why is that then? What's you hit us with it?
They want to make it more class specific, right? Okay. And yet we have something like Solbeast running around with Ecto, having every beat in the game. It's not very specialized, is it?
That's true, and they are aware of the plasma problem, aren't they? For those who are unaware of exactly what Angeels is talking about, there is this there are several things that can give you this ecto effect. It's in raids as well. Like if a daredevil steals on certain bosses, you get this ectoplasm. The pig type pets can like dig it up in as well in any game mode, but specifically in PvP is where this is happening. And Thief, if you steal on a Mesmer as well, you get this Ecto. And what the Ecto does is it gives you every boon in the game. Of course, it's especially egregious with classes like Soul Beast or Thief, because Thief can use it a lot, right? You can steal a lot, and you can also double use it with improvisation. And of course, Soul Beast has some quite amusing boon bouncing capabilities and boon extension capabilities that cause some quite strong effects, shall we say, with regards to this with this ectoplasm, right? It's quite a tasty little thing, and and Soul Beast already has quite a lot of boons, but they are aware of that. They did actually nerf it a little bit. They've nerfed the protection and stability, right, on the Ecto. But yeah, I mean, I can understand. I can definitely understand what they want to do with specializing boons. But what does worry me about that, especially for PvP, is that there's a lot of boons that are just you really want those specific boons. I think the one that would come to mind is actually stability, right? So suppose they try and specialize stability for Guardian, right, in PvP. That kind of means that Firebrand is always going to be like a really, really fucking sick support, because no matter what, if you can't give stability on Heal Ellie, you're just going to get like CC'd into oblivion. Or on Heal Rev, if you can't give stability or deal with CC in some way, you're just going to get destroyed, right? The same with Heal Scrapper, right? If you can't figure out a way to deal with the epic CC spam of how PvP goes right now, then that's going to be a problem. There are certain boons that are going to be inherently very, very favorable in any game mode, right? And locking them to classes is a bit worrying in that respect, don't you think?
The problem particularly with Firebrand, and I know this is PvP orientated, but like it has all the defensive boons, right? And then all the other support classes have some of them. Scrapper shits out regen. Heal Ellie shits out a lot of protection now, especially with the change. And what's the other one?
Resistance.
Resistance. I guess Renegade does resistance to an extent, right? So, but Firebrand has all of them. And so therefore nothing can ever compete whilst, Firebrand can do all of them. And they obviously need to make it more niche, but at the same time they need to look at adding more of the boons to the other classes.
Yes,
it doesn't, like, their statement doesn't work on two levels. Like in some cases they do need to, particularly in the case of offensive boons, but when it comes to defensive boons, they need to be more shared.
Yes. And well, certainly with regards to Firebrand, what worries me about the overall design of the class with regards to PvP and World vs. World is that what boons could you even take away, right? I mean, within the context of the class, right, all of those boons make a lot of sense, and removing them wouldn't. It would be very weird. Like, what would you even do at this point? And I think that's why they're actually attacking the cooldowns on the class as well, right? Because I don't think that they can really remove all of the boons. Like Guardian is always been the stability class, right? Yeah. It's always been that way. Protection, again, it makes sense on a Guardian. You have a weapon like Shield, right? And again, Guardian has a lot of protection-oriented abilities, and so on like that. Even a lot of traits around that as well. Like, and I mean, I guess it's Vigor, right? Which Heal Ellie has got, a bit of a Heal Ellie's got Vigor over the Firebrand, but. That's kind of about it, and removing anything would be very difficult. I mean, even resistance, right, would be kind of a tough ask to remove from Firebrand. But they should certainly look at giving this to other specializations as well, or maybe giving some more like offensive punch to the other ones. As you say, like the way you could kind of counteract the lack of defensive boons on other classes, they could be a bit more aggressive, right? Or you could go about it with
mechanic niche.
Yeah, precisely.
I mean,
like auras,
Heal Ellie has the auras, The problem that I do see though is, and this relates to PvE, is that if there ever is content that utilizes more PvP-like mechanics, and I mean like damage outputs towards players, then it's going to be a huge problem there as well. Because yeah, sure, you can share boons in a more structured manner, but something like Firebrand in its current state, you'd always want that in terms of its support capability over any other support.
Yeah, unless they keep nerfing it to the point where it's where it just falls over useless. But in a way, that is kind of that would be something to do to actually remove a problem spec, right, from PvP. Because I think a good example where this might have actually been a good idea would have been Scourge, right? I think Scourge, just design wise, it's inherently not so good for PvP, right? Like the way it operates, especially how it used to be with the big shade, right? That was obviously very problematic for how Conquest works, of course, right? With points, right? And then you have the shade that covers the entire point. Pretty good, that's not bad. And I think the same could be said for Firebrand, right? Just the overall design of the spec is just so good that it might be very hard to nerf it to the point where it would still be useful. And you wouldn't just default take it, you know what I mean? So I think it might I think Scourge and Firebrand are both like this. It's either going to be mandatory or useless, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that necessarily bad? Personally, I actually don't think so. I think it's okay to have some specializations that just aren't good, right? In a certain game mode.
I think it works if ArenaNet is able to push out balance patches more often and shift the meta around. Because at that point, then, you've had some time with Scourge, you swap it out a bit, and then Reaper becomes the next best thing, and then for a time. And I think that kind of balancing is what League has, right? Where they're constantly shifting stuff. And I think that's good. It keeps things fresh. But, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, the thing that is concerning, and we spoke a little bit about this on stream with regards to PvP, is that when you don't have Firebrand, right, it's destabilized the meta a little bit, hasn't it? It's made things quite fast in your estimations. Would that be correct? Like you just kind of run around one-shotting people?
It's basically like, dude, it's basically become a PvE open world event.
Oh my goodness.
To describe. You run around with your burst, you get your tags in, and then you
sounds like World v World.
What it actually is. It honestly is. It's pretty bad. Because they made Firebrand way easier to kill. With the cooldown increases. If you want to be effective on Firebrand, you have to take the Elite Consecration now, whatever it's called.
You mean
meditation? Yeah.
Renewed focus.
Yeah,
and that's quite enough even on itself actually, because that means you're very limited on sunbreaks, right? And also you lose a fair amount of stability as well. So that's an interesting one actually. But I guess you just need it, otherwise you just can't sustain long enough, right? It's you won't be able to survive because of course, funnily enough, like Firebrand already was one of those classes that was already a bit susceptible to kind of getting bursted, right, or right off the bat, because it doesn't really have a lot of active defenses, you know what I mean? It has like blocks, but other than that, it can't really survive like sustained focus, right? That's why it goes around with the Scourge, right? Because the Scourge can shove other classes away, right, by counter pressuring for the Firebrand. But now if you've removed a hefty chunk of its sustain already, right? And when that's gone, it will struggle to survive. And maybe Arena is actually trying to push it out of the meta in a way. But then again, it's a bit odd that they would do that, because they do actually talk about wanting to reduce kill times. Increase kill times, right? They want to make it so you can actually survive a bit longer no matter what class you're playing, right? Whereas in this patch we saw some of that, right, with some of the core guard changes, but not a crazy amount of that, right? There's still a lot of damage out there, right?
I think
it's huge.
I think it's the
damage.
problem that is kind of consistent with all ArenaNet patches, and this applies, I think, particularly to PvE as well. With some of the chrono changes that have come in the past, where they go in and they want to make a big nerf, and they do, but functionally it comes out worse. They don't actually address the issue. It was with chrono, they didn't actually, all the boons that you were getting, they didn't change that. And now with PvP, they go through and want to increase kill time, but they don't actually solve the issue by reducing damage. They just reduced sustainability of a support class. And I think, honestly, the biggest change you're likely to see is, Firebrand might not be meta in the future, but it's not going to be replaced by another support. You just won't run a support and you'll replace it with another DPS. That's currently the only outcome if they don't change stuff.
Yeah. And that was something that I was kind of expecting as well in this patch, right? And they kind of did do some of that stuff, with they made it so a lot of the procs can't crit, right? Stuff like the Reaper procs and they like kind of reduce the damage like the LE procs as well. Now this change really confuses me, right, Angels? So you know how they they did the same thing to Static Discharge and the LE Electric Discharge as well. So Static Discharge and Electric Discharge, they both did this too. So they reduced the base damage, right? But they increased the critical damage. So
I think that's actually really good. I like that change.
But isn't it like mega bullshit though? Right? So you either like get high rolled or low rolled now, no?
No. Basically it means that if you want to have big damage, you have to take an offensive amulet. And for PvE, this is actually pretty good because I think it's a damage increase for Static Discharge. I haven't done much testing, but it certainly felt more. And I think that's good. That's good. Rewarding more risky plays is good.
I suppose, but I mean, I don't know. It just seems that you surely it is a bit RNG, right? Like, so because in PvP, right? So if you got your Demolisher amulet, you're about what 55% crit, I want to say. So with Fury, you get it to 75% or something like that, or is it 80% or something like that?
Yes.
So there's going to be that one time, right, where like none of them crit, right, and you just like completely noodle someone. You're going to get really bad RNG and just do nothing. But on the other hand, like sometimes what's going to happen is that you get high rolled and all of them crit, and you just completely destroy someone instantly. Isn't that?
I mean, it forces you to think about your boon application, right? Where are you going to get your Fury from? Because it's something we've seen a lot, particularly in PvP. The past, we've been shifting away from having a lot of individual Fury application, like especially on builds like Hollow, and having to think about and having that back is a good change. Because if you want your damage, then you're going to have to spec for it, rather than just running defensive utilities and getting nothing.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, it's certainly one way to kind of address the issue, right? But I mean, yeah. Well, there you go. That's the thing about the poor old Firebrand. I mean, the one complaint I have about the Firebrand nerf actually is that I have quite a lot of complaints about it, honestly. Like, I don't really like I think attacking cooldowns is almost like the way to Smiter's boon the class. You know what I mean? Like if you wanted to like delete Firebrand, then I would increase the cooldowns really, really high, right? If you wanted to keep it relevant, then surely you'd reduce the power level of the actual abilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the odd thing is they didn't fucking split it for PvE as well.
Yes.
That like what is that about, dude?
Feels bad, man. Do you know what's weird, right? It's because they do actually know that this will be a problem because there's of course the conditioned Firebrand build in PvE that uses the F1 tome a lot, right? Because it's very strong. So they split that, but they just didn't split the defensive ones. They're like, fuck you. We're going to make sure that those are extra long cooldown in PvE as well. So they like a build that already wasn't overpowered, right? Which is heal Firebrand. It was perfectly fine build. They just like punched it in the face, like screw you. You want to play heal Firebrand? Get wrecked.
That build sucked.
What?
I tried to like it.
Yeah.
It was not. I don't know. I didn't have fun playing it.
It's a pretty
like
okay
Condi
build.
Firebrand that makes quickness is just so much more fun.
Oh yeah.
So I'm glad.
Oh yes.
I'm glad that's a thing.
Yeah, and that is an excellent segue actually to kind of go, veer back over to the raids direction. Actually,
thanks.
I actually want to talk about this shit because we've got some experts at the top of the stream here. Actually, now a lot of people are saying, Chrono is dead. Chrono is OP now. And what I want to talk about is how is the boon application thing gonna go, actually? Because, of course, we have this new, well, it's not really new, it existed before, but what they did to Firebrand is that they made the axe symbol give fury, okay, and they buffed the axe auto attack considerably, actually, for the Firebrand, right? It gives a lot more burning now, twice the burn duration actually on the third auto attack chain, and the fury means that you don't have to take sword anymore, so you can take scepter and axe, so you have like you basically like full DPS at this point. And because they buffed quickness output on the mantra, you can even take the extra damagey trait now as well, right? The 20% base burn duration for Firebrand. You can get some pretty fucking significant numbers actually on Condi Quickness Viper Firebrand. So you can really get some big damage there. And I've heard that you can get like 30k or something like that, nearly 30k on a build like this if you do it really well. That's of course on the Golem. It might not work out so well in a real fight, of course, but that is quite a significant number, and that on certain encounters, ones in particular where you don't have to move much, like surely that has got to go. That's got to see some play now. At this point, right? That's got to see some play.
It's hard to tell because like nothing is good right now on encounters where you have to move. Like double chrono, when the chronos have to split up from each other, feels insanely bad. So like nothing is good when you have to move now. Like the strat on Doom of sending one chrono up to do greens, like man, while that chrono's gone, boons are just complete dog shit. Like, yes. And it used to not be so bad, but now it's just like you really feel it because everything drops off. And like at Kadim, if the one chrono goes into the lamp, which is what a lot of people did, then boons are like super nasty on the legendary. So you kind of like really have to warp your build around that for those particular fights. So I don't know, like in those fights, like there's a pretty good argument that like having like let's say you were dead set on a chrono going into the lamp, maybe you're better off with a Renegade and Firebrand together on the legendary. Like that might be overall better than having just one chrono on the legendary.
Then you lose the portal.
Yeah.
During the fight.
Unless you bring DPS chronos who can each bring the portal.
Yeah.
You don't need Firebrand and Renegade anymore because they can buff themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that is I love balance patches that revolve around chrono because ArenaNet always accidentally do something that they didn't intend to, right?
They buff it in the end.
They
always did so far.
Exactly right. Like, this is fucking hilarious right now. The thing is, what happened to Signet of Inspiration, guys? I don't know. I'll tell you. So Signet of Inspiration changed from copying boons affected by boon duration to extending boons by a fixed duration. Okay. And it's a 5-second fixed duration. So now it turns out that you can pretty easily, play a power chrono and you can drop Mantra of Pain, for example, right? And you can go ahead and take Signet of Inspiration and suddenly you're kind of a buff machine as well, right? And then you take like 7 power chronos and suddenly, you can kind of self-sustain buffs on yourself forever while still being a power chrono and doing a crazy amount of damage because they actually buffed power chrono as well where they changed the way danger time works, so it works on phantasms now as well, so there's extra big damage there, and you can cap your crit much easier as well, which is nice. And as a result of that, you have some very weird ideas coming around, guys, where you just spam a load of power chronos that can kind of self-buff themselves anyway, right? And also be kind of boon slaves as well, right? But not exactly. It's more like boon servants or boon assistants. They can keep things going. They get applied once or twice, just 1 or 2 time warps, right? And it's kind of a funny one. Like ArenaNet's balance patches are always meme-tacular when it comes to Mesmer. I find like the Mimic one was the most hilarious one. I love what they did in Mimic, by the way. Like ArenaNet was like, no, okay, we're gonna make sure this never gets abused ever again. We're gonna make it immune to continuum split. And that is that. Oh,
yeah, that's pretty awkward.
Yeah,
nerf.
It is.
Let's go.
It's well, I don't. This affects some things. Like a lot of the. It's more like not really a raid nerf, but I guess it's kind of annoying in fractals and in probably dungeons, I guess, in some places, right? Where you have to like mimic a lot of blinks and stuff. I don't know shit about dungeons, dude. But
Mhm.
it's where you need to go like super fast. You can't do triple
Like
blink
the
anymore.
most tactics for dungeons are done without HOT in mind. And after that, no one came up with new tactics. So kind of the same. Yet now,
There you go. It's fine.
like who did active dungeon to us after HOT? Or at least weekly? No one really. Or no one I know.
Grimjack.
Okay, who did records in dungeons after HOT?
Didn't, didn't the Axons group do like an HOT record?
Yeah, they did Honor
Like,
of the Waves part
fairly
2 or
recently.
something. Yeah, like the
Yeah.
underwater one did. Yeah. It was good.
Mhm.
Now the speed.
Yeah, Honor of the Waves part 3. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It's just my mindset always. It's horrible.
Well, yeah, it's I mean, there's a lot of interesting developments coming through, and the one that I have some thoughts on, right, is what about, guys? You play Chrono Druid and a Renegade Firebrand. What? Sorry, and a Renegade Firebrand, because you can have both. How amazing would that be? And now the Chrono and the Firebrand kind of do damage too. So that's kind of wow, amazing, right? Incredible, spectacular, truly. I actually think we might be on the verge of seeing some proper variety. There is the complaint I have about the thing about Firebrand, right? The thing about Renegade and Firebrand is that those two classes are shackled together. You know what I mean? If you play a Firebrand and you're going to do quickness, you have to have a Renegade in your group, pretty much, or you have to have a Chrono, I guess, in a way. Otherwise, you just won't have any alacrity. You won't have any alacrity. So, in a way, Chrono has this design advantage. That it means it's always going to be played more. There's always going to be people who come in my chat and complain like, "Oh, is Firebrand good?" I'm going to say, "Well, yeah, it is, but you've got to play a specific comp for it, you know." That's always going to be a bit of a roadblock for this composition taking off. Certainly in the pug or more mainstream community, right? Because if you play this class, you always have to play this. Whereas Chrono can fit anywhere, right? Like Chrono, you can go in any group and say, "Yeah, I'm a Chrono. I'm going to do my boons," and it's always going to work out okay. Same with Druid, right? If you put a Druid in a group, always happy. Everyone loves Spirits and Might. Come on, ooh, yeah.
I think the solution is to give Quickness Firebrand and Alacrity Renegade like names, like Banner Slave that pugs can like summarize in like 2 letters, so that they can just post it on their LFGs and it'll fill faster. Like if you give them like a stupid name, then like they'll get ingrained in the pug's brains. Yeah, Quickness Slave Firebrand. Like
Alacrity Slave.
Yeah,
Only works with the previous one.
Yeah. So that's the only way to get things in the pug meta is to give them like names like that they can easily spit out.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about this actually, with regards to how to explain stuff to players. I mean, I'm planning on doing some guides finally. Okay, I'm fucking lazy, but I'm getting there. The roles need to be really well defined, right, for people to understand them and know what you're looking for. So you kind of need to talk about like, okay, might stacker, right, quickness guy, okay, alacrity guy, DPS guy, or more like. You even need to like specialize what kind of DPS, right? Like,
I'm sorry to interrupt here, but do they have to be guys? You know, it's 2018, dude. Can we have like different genders?
It's gender neutral. Guy is gender neutral. Angels, come on,
man.
Look, it's nearly
What about
2019. Quickness person, okay. Quickness person, quickness individual. Okay, there you go. We'll give you that, and I think there needs to be a big difference between healer, right, and dedicated healer. I almost think that Druid shouldn't even be. It should be referred to as a healer, kind of, but not exactly, right? If you ask for a healer, you should get something heavy duty. You know, if you put healer in LFG, it should be a heal Ellie joins or a heal Necro joins. You know what I'm saying? Like the good shit, right? If you ask for a might stacker, then you might get something like a PS warrior or a Druid. You know, but
don't join in a PS warrior.
Yeah,
dude. No.
Well,
just bad.
They should make Phalanx Strength 10 targets. Job done.
Even that is horrible, probably. What? Dumplings, maybe.
Yeah. Phalanx Strength 10 man. You know?
What they should do is just merge spirits and banners so that they're one thing, so you don't have to take a druid anymore. Like Discipline banner becomes Frost Spirit,
Mm.
and Strength banner becomes Sun Spirit, and that's it.
Well,
like
this is a suggestion that gets kind of bandied around a lot, right? Kind of normalizing and streamlining all the unique modifiers, right? And it would be a way to make classes more interchangeable, but what does concern me is that it would remove complexity from the game and make the classes lose their identity a bit, and that is something that I would always be against, right? Even though like banners are not the most flavorful thing, it's something that only that class can do. It's a unique thing that the class can bring, right? And I think that's important stuff to have, you know.
Class flavor aside, because I mean, to be honest, I don't give a shit about that. You can certainly add complexity because you can add, these more modifiers, whatever, through doing actions like blast finishers and whatever. At that point, then, when you use a blast finisher as a Condi warrior, for instance, you apply this effect to 10 players that boosts their power by 150 points. That's good. You can still keep that level. You can still keep stuff in. You can even make it more complex. But I don't know.
I don't think that's a very good point, actually, Angeels, and certainly something that needs to happen. I mean, they did this a little bit with spirits. There was this really weird mechanic with spirits where you could have them basically permanently because their corpses would still project out their effect. Quite funny, actually, but they fixed that. But I would be very much for removing these completely fully passive buffs that you just fire and forget, right? And actually adding some active gameplay to them, and maybe make them do something different, right? Your banners could be your long-term buffs that maybe while you're standing near the banner, something happens when you do something, right? As you're talking about blast finish, it could be any kind of finish, right? Or something like that, or some kind of action, right? And spirits could maybe be perhaps more short range and or actually maybe the opposite. Like spirits could be very long range but temporary, right? Like you change the weather, right? Like frost spirit makes everything snowy, and that kind of does something, right? It would be, it'd be kind of interesting to do that. If the spirits would change something about the environment very briefly, and that could be, changing the way things work and making them good in different specific scenarios is a really good way to balance the game, in my opinion. But just having these passive things that you just put down and forget, I think is a bit ridiculous. And I think changing banners would be really good for Warrior in general, because Warrior is in a really tricky spot. Unless it gets majorly reworked, I think it's always going to be broken OP, right? In PvE, just because of how much DPS it does, right? And all the buffs it provides at the same time, right? On 10 man. And that's just, I don't know. I think that's pretty problematic for the way the balance is, especially with regards to Warrior. Warrior is a class that no one ever complains about, guys. Why does everyone always complains about Chrono? Chrono's so OP, man. Chrono's so OP. Or Druid, but no one ever complains about Warrior and Druid so much, man. They're both busted, okay? Busted OP. Frost Spirit is a 5% DPS increase to everyone, okay? That's insane, okay? Sun Spirit is even a tiddly little bit more for power classes, or good DPS increase for Condis. It's ridiculous. It's insane. And they have a lot of design problems that prevent them from being nerfed very effectively. Like, even if you keep nerfing Druid for a while, like, spirits are so good, you're not going to want to get rid of them. Like, even if you nerf Druid really hard, you're still going to want to take a Soul Beast just to have spirits as well. You know what I mean? It's out of control. These classes are out of control. And that's some stuff that's been around for a long time. That is being slowly addressed, I think, but I don't know, man. The balance in the game is pretty good right now, I would say, though, to be honest. It's pretty good, especially with the Chrono nerfs. With the Chrono nerfs, I think we're definitely marching onwards to a pretty balanced and, varied meta, I would say. But before I would say that, you can play Firebrand Renegade if you want, but, it's not really that good. Now I would just say, you can kind of play that. It's really not so bad. You can get some big damage. You might have to be slightly better at the game if you want to kind of execute that, because it does have some holes in it. One of the most annoying thing, I don't understand why they haven't fixed this, by the way. I feel like this would be so easy for ArenaNet to fix. Like, there's no swiftness for Firebrand Renegade. I mean, what the fuck? What is why is that the case? I don't understand.
Firebrand just has to use staff.
Yes, for the shout, retreat.
Yeah. Take retreat, but you don't want to take retreat, man. I
know you want. You want this? You want it.
But you don't have to take like an entire
Firebrand could just
utility
pick
skill.
up the warrior banner and press 3. That's what we told Chronos to do for Fury. Now they can do it for Swift.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's just that there's a lot of holes in it, right? But it's still good, and it's better. But it's better not only because it got buffed, because the alternatives are considerably worse now as well. But again, as Angeels was saying a little earlier, it's half a balance patch, right? It just feels like they forgot some of it in a lot of game modes as well, actually.
So one thing that was really good, one thing that kind of enabled the Quickness Firebrand and Alacrity Renegade thing was the nerfing of Signet of Humility, because it pushed Chronos to take Time Warp, and since Time Warp hits 10, and since Tides of Time hits 10, Chrono makes enough overlap to cover for the Firebrand and Renegade. So if you can have one Chrono, one Firebrand, one Renegade, you well cover everything like super nicely. Like it has such synergy together. But if Chrono was stuck taking Signet of Humility and didn't have Time Warp, it would put way more pressure on the Firebrand to have perfect quickness, which they can have, but now if you have a Chrono with Time Warp and you're playing Quickness Firebrand, you can basically just cast your mantra on cooldown and spam out the stacks of quickness and put it on cooldown and still be good. So I don't know. I think there's a really good synergy there with those three, for especially at least for casual groups, if you can get people who can play those professions, which might take some time.
Yeah, that's certainly the accomplishment of the patch, right? Is that you can mix and match a bit more than you could before. You know, it's and that's pretty good. It's gonna you can actually go in your LFG and say, you know what, we want a Chrono and we want a Firebrand and a Renegade. Now, which before that wouldn't really work as well, because the Chronos were kind of dependent on each other in the previous patch, right? And they kind of are still to a certain extent, but if you have both of them, then they can also rely on that instead of just another Chrono. They can rely on the Firebrand Renegade, as you said, right? And dropping Moa isn't so much of a big loss anymore, because they nerfed Moa pretty damn hard.
It's useless now.
Yeah, they really give it a slap. It does. I believe it does 50 more break bar damage than Gravity Well.
Yes.
Yeah,
but the cooldown is 3 times that. No, 2 times.
Yeah.
And in comparison, Buzzy Venom is 750 on a 45-second cooldown.
Yeah,
which is
good.
So Signet of Humility is only meta on Escort. That's the only fight where it's still good at what it's supposed to do, because it actually turns the wargs into Moas.
Yes.
Ah, yeah.
So it's meta there.
Pretty useful.
Maybe no.
I think we mentioned it earlier though, that certainly with some elite specs that they shouldn't be good in all game modes. I think Signet of Humility is certainly a skill that shouldn't necessarily be good in all game modes either. It's a very PvP orientated skill, and I think it's similar to, say, Elixir X on NG, right? You've got the Toss Mower and you've got the RNG between Tornado and Rampage. Should they buff that to make it good in PvE? I don't think so. You want some skills to keep their unique effects and just be differential between the 3 game modes, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's fine to have some of this stuff split between Balancer. And to be honest, Moa was kind of one of the more overpowered things about Mesmer anyway, particularly in Fractals as well. And I think the aim of the patch is not only to nerf the boons, it was also to nerf the utility, right? The utility with across the board of Mesmer. That's honestly, in my opinion, the main thing holding Renegade Firebrand back, is that its utility is so far inferior to Mesmer. Mesmer Druid is just better at doing mechanics and raids. It can just handle things going wrong. It can handle having to do something accept its dedicated job a lot better than Renegade and Firebrand. Renegade and Firebrand are kind of crappy at dealing mechanics. They can't really pull ads very well. CC kind of sucks, and they have Star 5. The Renegade can CC quite a lot, but It wasn't as much as Mesmer before, but now it's more. Like now Renegade can actually CC pretty well, which is kind of funny if you ask me. But that's a pretty hefty nerf right towards that, and balance out the utility gap as well. This is something that it really frustrates me when people miss this, right? Like utility is never taken into consideration with balance. All they do is like, this is actually your average Guild Wars 2 player's opinion of balance. They go to snowcrows.com, okay? They go to benchmarks, and like the top 2 classes, okay, good. Everything below that, dog shit, okay? That's actually what people think. Is like how balance is. Like, oh, is Hollowsmith viable in raids? Like, it doesn't do as much DPS as a Deadeye. It's like, nah, what do you mean? Like,
I think you're way giving too much credit to the average player. The average player goes on meta battle and looks at World v World builds, gets one of those, and then plays that in PvE.
Okay, can we not talk about that site, please?
That's what the average player does.
Yeah. Well, you want to talk about gods of PvP?
Oh no! And literally any other build site other than
only 2, I think.
Yeah.
It's like
Kitty Marks also has builds.
Yeah. So just not that one. What about basically not gods? You don't want to talk about gods of PvP.org, right?
That's the one. Yeah, not that one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but there are no fun builds, dude. Yeah, no, we're not going down this road.
No.
No. You know what though? I want to give a special shout out to one game mode that ArenaNet doesn't care about. Okay.
Fucking World v World.
World v World. Yes.
Crab toss.
It's World v
Crab toss.
They care.
It's about as dead as crab toss, to be honest.
They care about crab toss more than fucking World versus World.
Look, Ben put the sad emoji now. Look what you've done.
Look, it's not my fault. This balance patch removed Mesmer from World versus World, dude. Just right off the bat, that just feels so bad. I love Mesmer. I love Mesmer in World versus World.
You didn't really run Mesmer for portals in the first place. You just sit at range spamming boons.
Yeah, dude, it was great. This is a big sadness to me. Mesmer got absolutely destroyed in World vs. World. Now you have to play like a cool gimmick build anyway, right? Like you have to play like a weird interrupt meme-tacular build now because you can't steal boons and share them anymore. I thought that was such a cool concept, but they just destroyed it. Like in my opinion, before the patch, like Mesmer was one of like the strongest builds in World vs. World. It's like so fucking good because Signet was so good and the CC it provides is so good. Now it's just a CC bot that casts Veil sometimes, an illusion of life. Like
Scrapper got hit too.
Well, no, it's Scrapper.
Yeah.
Well, shut up, Nico.
Well, I get. I mean, again. Scrapper. This is something that there were some things that upset the World vs. community a bit, and it was again that there was a bit of a Scrapper shuffle around. They changed some traits around and removed AOE super speed on the gyros, and this was quite powerful, right? Because super speed is quite good in World vs. World, and be able to give it AOE to your team is really, really powerful. And the fact that they removed that, it's just like, oh, feels bad, man. Feels bad for Scrapper and Mesmer in World vs. World. So I think it's definitely reduced some of the variety. And well, I'll tell you what though, Ben, I'm gonna have to take it back. Because this change, there was a change to Daredevil, right? And I think this was, I don't know, maybe Ben, but this seems almost like a change targeted at GVG even. Because now if you shadow step mid-vault, you can't, the vault won't do any damage, right? It will just cancel the vault.
It's a good change.
Yeah. And so I almost felt like that was targeted at GVG because you wouldn't really see a lot of Daredevils in open fields, right? Because, of course, you can't survive as well. You do see it sometimes, of course. Some people do play Daredevil, but it's quite difficult to get away with, right? But in a smaller scale 15, what you would do is it's so fucking funny, actually. It's hilarious, holy shit. What you would do is you would, like, cast Volt, and then right at the last second, just teleport onto the enemy backline and just one-shot people with 20k Volts, right? And the thing is, what you could do is you could synchronize this up with, like, 2 or 3 of them and just no downstate people. example. It was absolutely fucking hilarious, dude. There's a lot of dank montages on YouTube where you can see people doing this in a GVG environment.
I respect that strategy.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. But yeah, it's nerfed now. That's it. I got wrecked. So I tell a lie. There was some. I would say that is actually a world versus world. A world versus world oriented change. Actually, that is the Daredevil nerf. But other than that, like poor old Scrapper and Mesmer just got the slap. Oh man, dear.
It's odd, right? Particularly in the case of Scrapper, because they added like 18% damage. They added to it. Okay, which is it's a lot. Okay, if you consider PvP, okay, and to a lesser extent 1v1. But we've got these weird two directions now. Scrapper they were focusing it as a support, and now they're focusing it as a brawler status again, but they've power creeped it almost up to POF levels. It's an odd one. It's an odd one. That's for sure.
Yes, it is. It is a confusing thing, right? Because you kind of expect it to be very support oriented, right? In the way the traits operate, but you don't. It's almost like Hollowsmith 2 in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, getting stab on CC is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like it's not being pushed in the direction that ArenaNet kind of wanted it to go in, right? With the with the med kit. You know what I mean? Instead, it's getting some more 1v1 Julie kind of stuff, right? Or even team fighting, right? To deal with that stuff. It's slightly odd the direction that Scrapper is going in. Maybe what they want it to be dual purpose, because of course the support is still intact, right? Very much so. You can still heal a lot and do that, but there's no AoE barrier. Again, this is what is really confusing me, right, Angels? I was really expecting something like Heal Ellie or Heal Scrapper, right, to get barrier, right? Because right now the only class in the game that has AoE barrier is Scourge, right? And fair enough, right? Okay, I can kind of, Scourge. It's kind of Scourge is one of core mechanics of Scourge is barrier, right? But why not give it to some other classes, right? Support classes. They've given it to Scrapper, but only on itself.
Yeah, that's the really odd change. They need to, if they want Scrapper to be like a good support, they need to really look at Gyros, and they need to get something going with those. Because I mean, whilst the new kinetic stabilizers trait is actually pretty fucking good, at the same time, it's just not, it's removed support from the class. And there was like value in all game modes from the super speed, which is really good. But we've got a couple of traits in Scrapper that just make no sense, or just downright worse. Like Applied Force, which is not perma quickness, it's like 50% quickness uptime. It's not very good when we already have that new DPS trait. And we have the shocking speed, which is like useless now that Scrapper only has one lightning field. It's it's very, very odd.
Yeah, absolutely. It always feels in some of these changes that a few traits kind of get left behind, in a way that like, what's that doing here? Yeah. It was like well, I mean, if you recall, wait, is this trait still like this actually? What was it called? Like Impact Savant, right? And it was just like this Grandmaster Minor trait that just gave like 25% extra stun and daze duration, and Scrapper, it had a stun on hammer, right?
Yeah.
It's like what? What's going on there? I mean, of course you can do the dazing strike right through the lightning fields, of course, but that was kind of it. It's a bit of an odd one, and I don't know. It's always kind of confused me some of the things that have happened right with regards to like the direction that some classes are getting pushed in at all really, because it feels like it doesn't really quite connect in the way that perhaps ArenaNet are anticipating exactly.
I think that's the theme of the entire balance patch, really, isn't it? There are some really great changes, but it doesn't quite fully hit the mark.
Saying there's not purity of purpose.
Dude.
Changes.
That's true, actually. There is not purity of purpose when it comes to Scrapper. That is very true.
Well, I think you could say that there's not enough purity of purpose in the entire patch as a whole. I mean, certainly with regards to PvE, I think actually this patch is extremely good. Okay, I think it really does push PvE in the right direction, in my opinion. The Chrono change is amazing. Like, in terms of design, the only thing I don't like about the PvE changes is Mimic and they didn't skill split Firebrand terms. Other than that, I think it's actually really, really good. Extremely good design across the board. Like the Chrono needed to get wrecked, and I think it's really opened up not only design for future raids. I think now raids are actually more engaging just right off the bat, just because of this nerf. Seriously, like, raids are actually better content thanks to this patch. So good job, Balance team. I'm not even joking, dude. Seriously, they've actually improved all of PvE, okay, and made it more fun, okay, except Fractals. No, even Fractals are, pretty good now. So very good, right? Excellent change there. But I feel that in PvP, I think we see some very weird changes actually, or halfway changes, because we still have this problem with massive burst, and without we're kind of going back to an old topic here, but without Firebrand, or if Firebrand gets pushed out of the meta, right? If it turns out that this very fast bursty oriented comp is actually going to take over, right? Without that anchor of Scourge Firebrand, the opposite intended effect is going to happen, right? Suddenly, everyone's going to die instantly, right? And it's just going to be, I believe you referred to it as a hold W meta, right?
It is right now. It is hold W meta. Yeah.
So that's it's not. I don't know. I think it's not quite what the developers intended. I do genuinely believe that they wanted to kind of slow down the burst, right, and slow down the bigger damage. But I think that isn't going to happen because you don't have that roadblock, right? Like Firebrand Scourge has always been, or rather, you see this in any game, right? Like the healer DPS wombo combo, both kind of two tanky classes, right, that can sustain off each other and do big AoE team fight damage. If you have that roadblock, it instantly just slows the game down. You know what I mean? It slows it down. And that might not happen anymore, right? That might not happen anymore, thanks to the nerfs that the class has seen, right? And the fact that the burst damage, like the overall big damage of the game, just hasn't been removed, right? You still have this crazy damage, but suddenly you've got a 75-second cooldown, right, on Tome of Courage, which is pretty feels bad, man. It's pretty sad, isn't it? So yeah, I don't know. Do you expect them to actually nerf the overall damage, Angeels? Is that going to happen, or is it just always going to? Or are we stuck with this?
I'd hope, but a lot of the damage just comes from broken core mechanics, right? Like Mirage, just fundamentally what a lot of its damage. You think power version, all of that damage comes from the ambush skills. Honestly, for the Condi version as well, all the damage comes from the ambush skills. And they can't really nerf the ambush skills without changing the core mechanic of the class. It's yeah, I don't know, dude. I think though that there has been some interesting stuff come out of the patch, at least. I mean, the removal of passive Elixir S has birthed a new meme on Engineer. AED is now half decent. Because obviously Elixir S would prevent the proc of that, which was pretty bad. And maybe we'll see some more stuff come out. But yeah, it's going to be a frustrating couple of months.
Yes, and that's kind of the other issue that we see. Obviously, I think particularly for PvP, you can kind of suck it up in PvE, right? Well, actually, I'm not even talking about World versus World, because honestly, those motherfuckers have had the same shit since forever. So that's not going anywhere. Let's be honest here. And yeah, I mean, if you're in PvP and if you're in an unfun meta, you just have to deal with it. You just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that kind of sucks because it's almost certainly not going to change for 3 months, right? And that is kind of scary, right? If you want to go into PvP and you don't like pressing W and bursting everyone really, really hard, yeah, you might not have the best of times.
I think it's honestly the thing that concerns me the most. It's not actually the balance changes; it's the fact that we don't know when the next changes are going to be. If it was like, we realize this is an issue. They put out a statement. Yeah, we're completely aware of the burst it's going to take like 2 months, and there'll be a balance patch somewhere around late January. Then people be like, okay, all right, it's not exactly ideal, but I can live with that. But we're going to not hear anything, and then we're probably going to have a balance patch dropped randomly with the next content release or some shit. I don't know. And Yeah, well, we're not even going to know until until it happens. So yeah, it's I think that's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a big problem. And just that kind of lack of knowing what the hell is going on is always sad, right? And you don't know how big the next balance patch, if it's going to address stuff. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like every single balance patch, it just needed a teeny tiny bit more, and it could have been truly incredible. I think this was a very, very good patch in my opinion. Actually, just not to do it down, I think it's a very good patch design wise. I was very impressed by ArenaNet actually with regards to like the balance, but I think just communication is really important, and we just need a little bit more on top of this stuff. There's still a lot of things that are just not quite there. I mean, I almost take it back, right, with regards to the PvE thing. Like Firebrand Renegade, in my opinion, it's just not quite the full package. You know what I mean? And I don't know why they haven't made it like that.
Well, I think kind of the problem is that people's first time trying it was like Raka just said in chat. They're trying to do it with like Druid healer and then a second healer, and one of the second healers being the Renegade or the Firebrand. I think it works best when the Renegade and the Firebrand are DPS oriented and you solo heal with Druid, which I know isn't great for casual groups to have just a Druid solo healer, but the fact that you're getting 30k DPS out of the Renegade and the Firebrand makes up for the fact that you're losing, more than makes up for the fact that you're losing a DPS. So like that's where you actually gain something from that setup. If you were forcing one of the other two supports to be a healer or half supports to be a healer, then you're not really gaining any benefit to it. You should just be running a second chrono.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course, it's always going to be pretty. I mean, I always think that Firebrand Renegade is going to be in a high skill situation. I think it's going to be fine. But what I'm referring to is that I kind of want it to be set up in a way that your average player who does raids is able to make good use out of this and doesn't feel handicapped by not playing a conventional chrono druid comp, right, with two dedicated healers, right? I just don't think it's that attractive to play this unless you really care about optimization, right? And that just doesn't. I think that's not particularly good use of these professions if it's only really useful for players who are really try hard and really, really good at the game, right? It's I don't know. I think they should try and make it a bit more flexible. I think the big problem with Renegade and Firebrand to me is it's very, very inflexible. You don't have the same level of usefulness and wholeness that other classes have. You're very much really good in some areas, but you kind of suck in other areas. And I realize that's kind of how balance works, right? I always say that's how balance works. You have to give up some stuff to gain some other stuff, right? But I do feel like that there should be a certain level of baseline, right? Like you should have swiftness for a start, like that might be pretty good. I don't know, like it's just not quite there. It's not quite there, and that is sad to me. I think that I should join. I want to join a pug group, and I want to see people playing Quickness Firebrand and Alacrity Renegade, right? Feels good, man. That would be good. But instead, it's not going to change. I think that the pug meta, or rather the meta for most players, 90% of raiders, isn't going to change at all. I think. I don't think it's gonna happen, right? Everyone's gonna still play the same thing. Like you might see, I'm definitely expecting some super quick kills with a composition like what Nike was talking about, right? I definitely see that happening. In fact, almost certainly it's gonna end up better in some places, unless Chrono turns out to be crazy big DPS, right?
The places where that sort of team comp would be good, probably won't work until they nerf the stealing, the Daredevil stealing the plasma, then GGing and switching to Deadeye, and then doing the fight with Deadeye and having the double plasma still. Like that, they have to nerf that, like, because that's like the meta strategy whenever you can use it. Like, and it just so happens that would be those are the bosses where you would want the Quickness Firebrand and Alacrity Renegade.
Isn't that only Mosato Overseer? Or is there a second boss? I don't know.
Mosato Overseer is the big one for sure. And I think you can do it at Kadim too, but it's obviously not as good.
Don't you steal the plasma from the Hydra?
Yeah, but you can play. Well, you could play Deadeye then. You could play Rifle Deadeye there if you wanted to. But it's not as good, obviously. But yeah, but Mersado Versity is probably the best boss for an Alacrity Renegade, and there by not being able to bring the quickness Firebrand's not needed when your DPS are providing perma quickness.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the thing, right?
Can you just play with Alacrity Ren and Boon Share Thief?
Oh, Harrier, Boon Share. All they need to do is add heal.
Mender or not Mender.
Heal.
Diviner or Seeker.
Yeah. Oh.
One of those two. Maybe that will come soon. Who knows?
Hot rumors. Hot.
That would be spicy actually if they added something like that. That would be hilarious. Oh man, that would be good.
They did make a forum post.
Yeah, as we were talking about, right?
In that direction.
There's gonna be some new boon gear coming through in the upcoming Living Story patches. We don't know exactly when, but we know that it is going to be arriving.
So I was thinking about it, like, okay, Seekers / Diviners are kind of like the obvious choice. So let's say we got that and we were going to get another set. Like, what is the next most desirable set to have boon duration?
A Condi set with
boon duration. Condi main stat, boon duration main stat, and then like expertise and precision. That would be so fucking good. That would be so broken. Yes. It would be ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I think it is a concern, right? If you see some of these stats come into the game, it's going to get really scary, right? You might end up making some new builds kind of come out of nowhere, but I'm actually uncertain as to what you could actually create. Like, what would be an insanely overpowered stat type, right, to come into the game with boon duration on it? Is there anything? The only thing I can really think of is as we just said, like Diviner, right? Like, what else would you want? And a Condi one as well. An
actual Celestial.
Mega Celestial, dude.
Or you can add your own stats together. That would be amazing.
Shit. Custom stats.
Slightly broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like you have sliders,
right?
And like you have budget points that you have.
Okay.
For the power. Bam.
ArenaNet, listen up, ArenaNet. I want you guys to help me out. Okay, you help me out. Make the ultimate heal necro stat type. Okay, are you listening? Major condition damage, major healing power, minor vitality, and minor expertise. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think the combo of expertise and concentration, like, that probably will never happen, in my opinion.
Just think how good that would be.
Yeah, and they could also come out with, like, not even boon duration, but like Berserker, like a better Zealots, like Berserkers with healing power would be pretty useful in a lot of places.
4-stat? So a Zealot 4-stat? That would be, that would be...
Like, Zealots doesn't have ferocity, so just make it 4-stat so it has ferocity. That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, something like that, or Menders would be actually insane for heal Necro as well, actually. That would be insanely sick, actually. That would be so strong. And I'm always thinking about heal Necro possibilities, guys. Oh, yeah. That would be good shit. Yeah, that's some nice water, dude. That's good. Yeah.
It's actually zero on it.
Yeah. Oh man, there's definitely some really insane stat combos that you could, well, at least funny meme ones that could come into the game right there.
I mean, they could even make like a better Vipers that had like Condi damage and expertise main stat, like, and had power and precision be secondary. Oof. Like, that would be even nicer up.
I mean, I don't think they want to power creep the game too much, right? No, it's already pretty strong. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it would be good to see some variety that just doesn't use, for a Condi, that doesn't just use Viper, right? I mean, I think Viper would still be good sometimes, right? But just not always. And you know, that would be good. Like some for example, some Condi classes do a fair bit of power damage as well, whereas others like Necro just do no power damage.
Wouldn't you always want Viper on NG? Because you cap out pretty quickly, regardless, and you have the power damage.
Exactly, right? You want some of that juicy power damage as well, right? And then something like Necro, you would want this max expertise condition damage one, right? Where because you don't need, you don't have any power. Yeah, or Soul Beast, with short bow, stuff like that, you know. Short bow, Soul Beast. You know, actually, can you just look? Is it true, Nike, that shortbow is basically the same as with the torch?
That's
now?
what I heard. I heard it's better.
I heard it's
It is
better.
Torch.
Yeah,
All the combo
Rocky,
finishes.
Rocky, you like that shit?
Yeah, he's in chat, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
Holy
in
shit.
chat. Yeah,
Yes,
you
yes,
like
he
that
is.
shit, Rocky? How does it feel?
Rocket now
shortbow,
denies
shortbow?
that he's even a Ranger main. Like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah. You enjoy that, Rocker? You like that? You like that fact that shortbow is better? It's the best way to play Connie Solbeast now. Yeah, you enjoying that? He's not even responding. He doesn't want to. He can't handle it.
He's triggered.
Yeah, he's actually triggered now. He's fucking mad now. This is funny. Yeah. Ranger is a
Oh,
dead
it's back.
class, to be honest. Ah, there we go. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Overall, very good balance patch, certainly, with regards to this. Like, I don't know. Do we have any other comments about the balance patch in general in any game mode? I don't know. I don't think. I think we've kind of covered all the important points and some fun opinions and interesting things that we've.
Nerf Mirage.
how many
Power
balance
Chrono.
patches has it been since like Ellie had a big change? Like there was no Ellie, like no substantive Ellie changes in this patch. It's like the first time I think in like ages that it didn't even get like a nerf or a buff like in either way. It was kind of just like they just made a bunch of PvP changes, I feel.
Yeah, but I think Ellie is in a fairly okay spot, right? Does it need to
Yeah.
it need to move? I think it's.
Hey, Ellie makes Fury now. So
Yeah, I saw you playing an interesting experimental Tempest Condi might stacking build, right?
yeah. I mean, I doubt that has any future in raids unless
Won't
they
be
buff the
needed.
damage like super high. But
It's more of an option though, right? You know, it's fun
Yeah,
to
it's
have
fun.
this. It's kind of like the Deadeye build, right? Where you take what's it called, Fire for Effect, I think, or something like that, where you can stack 25 Might and Fury on your entire team, and I think that's that's an interesting thing too, right? You know, it's an option that you can play.
yeah,
right?
and it's insane in open world, just
Yeah.
like the Deadeye.
Yeah.
Like it turns out, like all the people that are like at meta events getting 3K DPS, like if you put boons on them, suddenly they get 6K, and they're only like slightly terrible.
Yeah, and
So,
I think that's really important to note. Like, if I can, if we can talk about anything, if you guys take anything away from this tea time, just bear in mind that you don't have to play meta, guys. You don't have to play these super optimal builds. Play some fun builds. Play the ones you want to have fun with. Just, be good at them, okay? And you can actually.
Wow, is there a site I can get fun builds from?
You know what? I'm
No, there are
afraid
no fun
not,
builds anymore.
dude. I should make a fun build site. Okay. I'm gonna.
I'll do Measure Fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna do like
You gotta
fun
come up with
builds.
a-
I'm pretty sure
Actually,
Kitty
maybe.
Marks is already got the corner.
Oh my
Boys, yeah. Metabattle.com for fun builds, dude. Okay.
I can't time out Roy. It's upsetting me, dude.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty entertaining. Hybrid builds, dude. Yeah, some fucking hybrid builds, man. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Good patch. Very good patch overall, I think. The only truly sad things are that they slapped Mesmer and Scrapper in World vs. World, and Heal Firebrand actually got hit quite hard in PvE, and poor old Mimic. But everything else, other than that, very good. Very, very good.
Maybe you're missing a game mode there in your summary, but yeah, all right.
Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah. I mean, PvP. Oh yeah. I mean, Firebrand got slapped in PvP as well, right? But that's. I think that's a good change as well. That's why I said everything else. I think. I think all the changes in PvP are pretty good. Honestly, I think Firebrand had it coming. To be honest, if there's a time, okay, Angeels, when it gets like deleted and we go back to Heal Ellie, I'll be happy. Okay, I love Heal Ellie. Heal Ellie is my jam.
I want
okay?
auras to be better. There we go. Fire aura buffets.
Yeah. Just buff all the auras, okay?
Well, maybe not lightning aura, but we can slightly buff the others.
The lightning aura now stuns for 2 seconds instead of 1 second. Enjoy.
I mean, that'd be great on Polo, but everything else might struggle a bit.
Yeah. Well, you know what, guys? I think the chat has wanted us to talk about this, and I think it is about time, because I think we've kind of dealt with the balance patch, right?
Wing 7?
Wing 7. Now, this is peculiar. Did you guys know that this was actually developed by an intern, apparently? Someone told me
It
that
looks like intern work.
on the... Whoa, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, the animations are cheap. It's easy built. Not like fancy animations like in Wing 6, for example.
Yeah,
Just add this effect to this guy, done. And it works.
Yeah. Wait.
Please
It
don't
does,
make
it does mean that they could shit out some more like low effort raids and really like flood us with low effort raids if they wanted to.
Oh, they should do that.
Which-
Yeah.
No, please.
Which
no, I wanna
honestly,
have-
like I would like it like one like epic raid per year where they put like tons of production value into it, like Wing 6, and then like 3 low effort raids for like the rest of the year. That would be good.
Yeah, no, I think that would be I completely agree. I know it's being mockingly referred to as a raid, but I think not so much actually, right? If you actually take a look at the mechanics on Freezy, right, and you look at the pre-event, right, it's almost like a full-fledged raid, man. I mean, the mechanics there's quite a lot of them, and they have some level of complexity to them. And Freezy has more mechanics than a lot of bosses in Wing 4, for example, right?
That's
what I
true.
mean? And that you can't deny that, guys. Freezy has more mechanics than stuff like Cairn and VG. That's actually real. And I think it's a pretty good boss as well, actually, guys. Okay, I think it's a pretty solid boss. So there's ads you have to deal with. You have to like throw snowballs at something to heal the boss up. You have to DPS the boss. He has an auto attack. There's AoEs. There's like even there's floor sliding as well. Stuff like that. There's a giant laser beam. It's a great easy mode raid. It's a fantastic easy mode raid. I would love to see more stuff like this added. And you know what? Hopefully, anyone at ArenaNet happens to see this, guys, please leave this in. Don't remove it for Wintersday, right? Do not remove
They
it.
will remove it.
Don't remove it.
100%.
But I think they will add just new raids to every
Add a
single
new wing
festival.
to it each Winter's Day. Like, just make it like
That's
Secret Lair of the Snowman Wing 2. Like,
Oh.
keep expanding it every Winter's Day.
Yeah, but seriously, I don't want them to remove it. I think they should I think they should keep it. They should really keep it in the game and leave it there for almost like an entryway to raids for some players. Now, and I think they should add more stuff like this. This to me is what easy mode raids should be. Because I think it is very easy, and there's nothing wrong with that. I certainly had fun doing it. Don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun doing that. It was didn't take very long, of course, but it's a good piece of content, I think, and it gives me, it almost is like a glimmer of hope, right? For me, it's like, is ArenaNet actually going to start doing more raid content or more 10-man content in the upcoming year? And I think yes, and then I also think no, yes, no. Honestly, I have no idea. Like, I got burned last time because guys, right now, don't meal me. I don't want to see any fucking lulls in the chat, okay, about this. Right? I don't want to see even one lull. Right? Not
Okay,
even
talk.
not even one lull.
Just do it.
Last January, okay, I said that 2018 will be the year of Guild Wars 2, and then we're going to get 2 or 3 raids in 2018. I said this on TeaTime, guys. This is on record.
That is an mega lull right there, dude.
It's on record, guys. Okay? And maybe so I don't want to say it again. I'm a little bit concerned to say something like that again, of course. But I kind of want to believe, right? There is almost next year. Wait, someone's asking me, do I agree with Mike? What did Mike say? Wait, what did he say?
I mean, financially, 2018 was a great year for Guild Wars 2.
Yes.
ArenaNet did very well.
Yeah, mount
All
skins.
those mount
dude.
skins.
Yeah, farming mount skins,
Oh,
dude.
the Nico
Okay.
is so cute, by the way.
Winter's Day
No,
should be an
no,
event
one-
for everyone. But
One thing that's funny about the easy mode raid is that, so when we're on the forums, since this topic never dies, like I always comment to people that no matter how easy you make it, there's still going to be people that cry that it's inaccessible and it's too hard. Like, you could literally make it like so that quadriplegics could complete the raid, and people would still cry it's too hard. And sure enough, there were some people in the community that thought that the Winter's Day raid was inaccessible and too hard. I don't understand. So pretty much exactly what I predicted came true, is that you can't please the easy mode raid crowd. You can't give that enough.
yeah, and I was just about to go into that, and you're completely correct. And it's a terrifying thing, to be honest. It is a horrifying prospect that we find ourselves dealt with, because I viewed it as completely trivial. when you be like, oh yeah, okay, this is great. Like this is actually going to satisfy the easy mode people. But no, I've been linked countless forum threads, loads of tweets saying that ArenaNet forgot the casual players. ArenaNet hates casuals. Like, I'm sorry, guys. Honestly, it's there are some players, and what these players want is literally something that you press a button, like you just press a key, you press the U key, right, and it just gives you the loot, right? That's actually what they want, and that is fucking ridiculous. Right.
Well, and also it also counters the other thing you see in the easy mode raid threads is they're like, we just want easy mode raids. We don't care if there's less rewards. We just want we're fine with less rewards. Just give us the easy mode raids. So this snowman raid has less doesn't have great rewards. Let's be honest. And they're complaining that the rewards aren't good enough. So it's like you got your easy mode raid with less rewards, and you're crying about that too. So it's like they're countering themselves. Like it's hilarious.
Yeah.
What I'm really confused about is they're saying that ArenaNet doesn't care about the casuals, but we know ArenaNet doesn't care about the hardcore players, right? So who does ArenaNet care about?
The whales, I guess.
The whales.
Are the whales?
I mean, they're certainly giving that
bringing us
content to
down?
the gem store. Let's be real here.
Yeah. I don't know. My recommendation, guys, if Freezy is too hard for you, and this is I am being unironical here, okay, guys? If you don't want to engage in any way with the content, that is absolutely fine. Like there are these great things called movies that are going to be way more up your alley, right? Like you can just like get the gratification and you don't have to do anything. You can just watch it. You can watch it play by. Or tell you what, great idea. What you could do is if you don't want, okay, to actually have to engage, just watch me do it for you. Okay, I'll do.
Not try insult. Yeah. You will do it for them eventually.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true, right? Just buy it. If you don't want to engage it, just buy it. I'll tell you what. Give me 250 mystics. I'll run you through Freezy the snowman, okay? Nice, okay?
Wow.
Easy fix.
Solo.
Yeah.
Dude,
cheap.
what a deal.
Could you sell the thing?
I bet you can, dude. I bet you
You
can.
could buy it and get like 70 mystic coins in the end.
Bet you can. It's I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to try and bash casuals. I'm sure there'll be some comments saying like, "Teep, how can you say this? How could you bash the casuals in this horrific and callous way?" I'm sorry, guys. It's a video game. It's interactive media. Okay, it's not a book. Guild Wars 2 isn't a book. You can look. Okay, this is a Guild Wars 2 book. This is not the game though. This isn't Guild Wars 2. This is a book. Okay, it's even blank. Right? You could write your own stuff in here. Okay. Yeah,
oh, I know who can write some stuff in there.
Jackson, that's right,
yeah.
dude.
Okay.
I would love to read those stories.
He's a storyteller of sorts.
You know what, Nike? You should read that actually.
Yeah, can you please
make
a read?
Can you read that out on YouTube?
In audiobook for work.
I think I'd quit after the first sentence.
Or we could get Valen to do it.
He would probably do it, dude.
He's still... Is he on timeout still?
I believe he is.
Yep.
Valen is banned. Okay.
I mean, it wasn't definite. I don't know where the 30 days came from, but yeah.
Can someone link it to Roy?
Oh, well,
he doesn't know.
He doesn't know the story. Oh boy.
I think after he read the first sentence, he would take back his offer to read it on stream.
Yeah, like I don't know. This is I really don't get this. I have said, and Zorik kind of expressed this sentiment, and Zorik is actually a person I respect. I will actually get to talking to him about it at some point. It just seems that no matter how easy you make it, it's never gonna be easy enough, And I don't know. I just think that even if you put in like almost no effort, you'll still be able to kind of muddle to the end of the Frosty fight, right? I saw some streamers like actually try and die to it, right? Try and die to it, but fail. I've seen people like try and stand in the laser beam, but it just doesn't kill them. It doesn't do enough damage to kill you. Or like just like try. I mean, honestly, when we were doing it, my bloody team, like my guild, was like trying to, like drag the snowball into the group and kill people,
yes.
right? Okay,
Same.
and we couldn't do it. We couldn't kill people,
It does like 1.2k.
Yeah,
every 2 seconds. So nothing.
So it's just, yeah, exactly. My group was like, yeah, exactly. Even active sabotage isn't enough. Like Freezy will still fail to kill you, you know? Get out. Well, yeah, dude. Well, I suppose the lines are kind of tricky. And then there's a concern about like mechanic spam. It's just, it's not that spammy. I think everything's really well telegraphed, actually. What I'm trying to say, guys, is I think the complaints about this are just ArenaNet. Okay, listen up, ArenaNet. Do not listen. Okay, do not listen. Yeah, no, it happened, Roy. It's real. Okay, it's real. You have to read this now. You promised, dude. Okay, but anyway, okay, it's just do something. Okay, just do something. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. You have to put in a tiny amount of effort and you'll be able to beat it. But at this point, I have now, I don't know. I suppose I did, when we were talking about easy mode raids last time, I said that they should just make it unfailable in a way. But I actually consider this basically unfailable. If this was the difficulty for easy mode raids, I legitimately think that would be an excellent thing for the community. So ArenaNet, do not listen to like the full crybaby casuals, okay? I think there's a lot of casual players who are really pleased actually about this, and I think it's enjoyed by a lot of players who feel a little bit scared out of raids, right? And a little worried about raids, okay? But with this, I think they've actually got a little taste of 10
this is Mafia, please no.
You know, a little taste of 10-man content, right? And I think that's a really great thing. And I you know, to be honest, I would love to see more of this added, okay? I don't know how long it took ArenaNet to develop this. I believe, don't quote me on this because, of course, my stream told me this, so I don't exactly trust them, okay? You know, they sometimes are very, very mischievous, okay? But apparently it was developed by an intern, like in spare time, right? Or something like that, right? And an intern came up with this, right? So, dude, for a start, like, hi, that bloody intern, holy shit. That's one hell of an intern. But I would love to see more content like this. I think it would genuinely appease the more casual community with regards to raids and can maybe keep raids going for a little while longer. And I wouldn't mind like adding a few raids like this, right, in between the harder raids, especially if there was actually a hard mode. To be honest, if you like buff up the HP, if you like give him 10 times more HP, and
what does he actually do? I have no idea.
Well, the thing is, none of his abilities do any damage, but he actually has quite a lot of mechanics. So there are lines on the ground that do damage to you.
So Broken King, yeah?
Yeah, he has a laser beam, okay?
Oh, I saw Ruby dying to that shit, yes?
It's a bit like Sabbath the Flame War, but it like chases players around actually, right? Okay. There is, well, what else does he do? He's got an auto attack that's a bit like Broken King, okay? It's got like a conal cleave auto attack. There's the snowball that appears and chases people around. He summons ads that give him barrier, but like so little barrier that it's nothing, right? You can ignore them. And then there's the split phase, right, where you have to collect snowmen, kill the snowmen, otherwise they heal him, and also protect the heart and throw snowballs at the heart so it doesn't, so you can heal it up again, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds simple.
Yeah. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, I think it's actually what you're on for. I agree, Benji. I completely agree. This is exactly the kind of thing I had in mind, right, with regards to for an easy mode raid, right? You know, I think it would be great. And then in the last phase, right? Okay. Oh, the snowball leaves frozen ground. Apparently, I didn't even notice that. But in the last phase, something really cool happens. It gets out of control, dude. There's like everything goes all icy, right? And you start sliding around. There's like some snowstorms and loads of AOE's, like loads of little AOE's in like an ice-shaped pattern, like a snowflake-shaped pattern, like a spiral pattern, kind of start appearing everywhere. I think it's a really good fight. Honestly, if you made it do damage, gave him way more HP, you'd have yourself a proper raid boss there. Actually,
and a big arena, please.
Yeah. Not necessarily.
I dislike the arena, like the being, you know, whole.
Yeah.
Camera-wise.
I'm ready for SAB World 4 mini raids.
Yeah.
Or for
do you know how triggered that would make people, Angeels?
Dude, like, I don't know, it could be fun.
It could be fun, but it would piss people off, dude. Like gating SAB behind being.
Well, don't worry, they have their infantile cloud path. To beat it.
Yeah,
dude.
Well, to be honest, I mean that's it, right? I mean, realistically, that's what the easy mode crowd want, right? Well, no, I'm not the easy mode crowd, like the full aggressive casuals. That's what they want. Easy mode cards to raise. I don't want to tar casuals with this brush, because I think there's a lot of casuals who are very happy with this content, right? Okay, seriously though, and appreciate being given this opportunity to engage in a raid, in a raid like content. Okay, there's a vocal minority who just don't like it, right, and can't. It's like, oh, I got to put in some effort. What the fuck? This is stupid. And yeah, I think that's ruining it for everyone, guys. Okay, I think this is something that should be celebrated and encouraged from ArenaNet. To add more stuff like this for other festivals. Do I think it will be expanded upon? No, I don't think it will be expanded upon, because I think basically all the festivals right now, as we go around, they're all going to get a new lick of paint. And then they'll remain like that pretty much forever. We see this because they're adding in those annual achievements with the 50 AP attached to it, which is good for 10 years.
I think
it will stay fairly static. Go ahead, Angel.
There is a festivals team, isn't there? Or like a team that they also do the legendary weapons, if I remember correctly, right?
No, that's done by the actual map team. So, yeah.
So it seems they also have a lot more time to work on this stuff now that they've kind of all finished up with their reworks for the festival. So we might see new content added like this with each festival. I think that's likely.
Okay, and yeah, I think that will be really good. Because how do you convince people to get into the more hardcore content and see some more uptake on those raids? I think it's actually stuff like this. I mean, maybe I'm being very, very optimistic, but I think surely some more casual players have thought, you know what, it's 10-man content. It's kind of fun, isn't it? Maybe they go and try out VG or something like that. After that, I don't know. Maybe that's a little optimistic. It's a bit of a step up between Freezy and Veil Guardian, to be fair. But I don't know. I kind of see it, man. I think something like that could really work. And adding stuff like that to all the festivals, I think, could be cool. I think it's good to have a variety of activities, and one with a little bit of challenge in it, a few little mechanics, right? Could be really good for the community, right? And helping people. Kind of get into the game, and some challenge is good. I think challenge and feeling like you've overcome something is kind of the key to reward. I think just getting everything for free is not very exciting. It's just the way I would kind of phrase it is like, what's more enjoyable, right? Like you can play through a game normally on a hard difficulty, right? And you'll feel satisfied and you'll feel, yes, I am good. Okay, when you beat the game. But if you just enable the cheat codes and give yourselves infinite lives, like that's not satisfying, is it? That's fucking rubbish. Okay, it's not going to be an enjoyable experience if you just cheat. Okay, and in a way, I think that's what a lot of people want. Is they just want to be able to cheat and get the rewards instantly. And where's the fun in that? I don't get it. I just don't understand that impulse. It's just like they just want a button that you press that gives you the skin. It's like, well, it's almost like you want to go on safari, right? It's like, oh, look at the snowman. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, look at the snowman. Whoa. And then you pumps out some presents at the end. It's like, well, that was fun, wasn't it? It's just like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand how you enjoy that. It just doesn't, maybe I don't get it, but I suppose I don't get it. But there you go. Fucking go. Add hard mode Freezy. Hard mode Freezy, ArenaNet. Let's go. But yeah. Just one thing that's slightly separate from that is actually what it means for raid development, okay? This makes me very suspicious, okay? I feel suspicious because, like, look, team, okay? If they're able to do a boss like Freezy with a few mechanics, let's just do that more often, but for actual raids, so, of course, he isn't new art particularly. He's got a cigar, right? Or, well, it's a candy cane cigar, right? Okay, he's a fucking drug lord,
Whoa.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he deals out. He deals out mince pies and fucking little glasses of brandy, dude. That's what he does. Like he's a dealer. Okay, he's a mince pie dealer, right?
Kids want some pie.
Yeah. So if they can do something like that relatively easily, like why not do a a quote unquote low fidelity raid? I actually think the environment's great, and I think the boss looks kind of cool, but apparently that's not good enough for some people.
Wait, they could do them in the living story more like that way, like not necessarily call it a raid, but make it like a 10-man, like sub raid. Like I don't know what you would call it, but
yeah, you could like have flavor instead of having the fucking hearts. You go and you group up with some buddies, and you go fight this like mini boss on the map instead of doing that shit. That'd be way more interesting.
Yeah, again, that's one way you could integrate it, but I just don't think that's even necessary because we have a team dedicated to making raids and stuff, right? The systems team does like the raids, and you have the living story team, which is a separate entity, right? So why not have it kind of going as a side project, or not even related to the story, right? Because Freezy isn't exactly related to the story, right? He's a snowman, you know.
I can't believe they gated Freezy lore behind raids. Like that really makes me mad because I was big into Freezy lore, and they gated it behind raids, and now I can't know how Freezy's story concludes unless I raid, which is really just.
I don't know. Apparently, raids isn't part of the systems team, so apparently I'm wrong on that. I thought they all got mashed together into one like big blob, but I guess not.
I think raids and fractals are the same.
Wait. What happened to the raids and fractals team? What team did they get like merged into?
No, they're the same. You got
They're
raids
in
and fractals.
the good content team.
It was
the good content team. Oh, I don't know about that.
Okay,
one.
nobody. I cancelled that. And so I think whatever. There is a team that does the raids, right? And now I understand that they are limited by doing a lot of very complicated artwork and a lot of voice acting for say Wing 6. Like the story team probably helps with that. Like all the teams probably help to do the raid, right? Okay, there's a lot of things that come together into the raid, and of course that seems to be probably the delay there because if they're able, if this boss comes about with all of its quite a lot of mechanics, right? Quite quickly, right? I assume so. Well, if it was made by an intern, then maybe it took a while for like one intern to do. I don't know. We don't know the full story, right? But I don't know. I certainly wouldn't mind a few bosses that are just bosses for the sake of being bosses. Maybe that doesn't fit into ArenaNet's design philosophy, I suppose. But I feel like not every raid ring has to be this awe-inspiring, amazing spectacle, because that's certainly what Wing 6 is, right? There's such an incredible amount of detail in the environment. And of course, the boss design in general, Kadim is all fresh models, loads of stuff in the lamp, loads of different, massive arenas and environments, huge space that is obviously going to take a lot of time for the artist to actually create. Voice acting, again, like loads of voice acting lines, Glenna, Zomros, Kadim, the Lagos, all that stuff, right? There's loads of stuff, but why not have a few bosses that are just bosses, that are just not to do with the story. They don't have much of a plot, right? And they're just fun to fight, and they drop some loot. You know what I mean? I think that is something that could maybe get done and not take so long, because like in 2018 we have actually seen only one raid wing, and how you can kind of characterize it and make it sound a little worse than it actually is. But if you actually look at the numbers, I think Wing 5 came out in November. Am I correct? Or was it even December? It was November.
November.
It was like late
17th?
November, I think. Yeah. Okay, mid-November, right? And Wing 6 came out in September, right? If I'm not crazy. September 17th again.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it took like 10 months to do one raid wing.
I think they could mash the two concepts together, right? If you had one boss that was really well put together, like Kadim, okay, and then you had a couple of filler bosses in the same raid wing that required less dev time, used reused assets. Yeah. I think maybe that's the way to go, right?
I got some news for you about Wing 6.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's but
But they already do that, like Wing 5. The spinner was done by someone else than Doom. Same for the river and the statues. So only do one proper boss like Kadim will still be the same time for the whole wing. Maybe.
Well, I think merging them is going to be a bit weird, because then you're going to go from a boss that's story-oriented and has a lot of detail in it and some new stuff, and then you go to like a filler boss. I don't think that really makes any sense, but to have like just an odd one or two boss fight where you just fight, I don't know. I think one thing that never got capitalized on, right? Why not have a raid about the Forged, right? I was amazed, or the Chak, right? Why is there no Chak raid?
Chak, yeah, please.
Or why is there not a Forged raid? These are big baddies, right? In Path of Fire and Heart of Thorns. So why is there not just some like random raid where you just
Yeah,
fight
they
a
put-
really big one? You know, just fight a
They
big one.
put so much dev time into the Forge, it was just
Yeah.
instantly discarded.
Yeah,
like,
they're irrelevant, dude. It's like what? It feels bad.
So many models, so many. Oh no,
yeah.
just oh shit.
VG is a pretty simple story, simple story. So bosses without a story are a thing. I mean, that's true, but they do actually have some lore behind it. It's like Sabbatha activated these pylons, right, to make this big ass guardian spawn. You know what I mean? Haven't
That's
you?
the death rate of Mortimer activating them,
Oh,
like the
Okay.
magic.
Yeah,
Definitely.
lore. Come on, T, but you've done these raids so
Ah,
much, you don't even know
look,
the lore.
dude,
Even I
right.
knew that.
Wow.
okay. I'm gonna leak something right now, guys. Okay.
The Gospel was the
Right.
Bloodstone, not close by.
Look, okay. I haven't even done all the lore achievements in Wing 1 to this
Oh.
day. Okay, I haven't even done all.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
disgusted.
Yeah, that's real, guys. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it might be too close to all. That's true, actually. Haven't you watched the ArenaNet promo video? They specifically emphasize that artwork is one of the the cornerstones of their products, meaning there will never be a cheap raid wing. Well, I think that might be to the detriment of the actual game, though. In a way, I mean, maybe I mean, to be honest, I might just not agree with that. I mean, I suppose again, this actually might be ArenaNet's design philosophy. Doesn't I mean? I just don't. I guess I just don't agree with it.
I don't know though. Okay, like because they can just reuse assets. The biggest problem is probably the creation of new assets, right?
Yeah, but
So
in Wing
if
1,
it-
Wing 6 was only one asset new, and that's the Kadim and Samoros. The rest, and maybe
It's the
KC, all of it.
It's crafting the environment, though, isn't it, Nico? Right? I mean, look how detailed and amazing, like all the setup required, all the scripting, right? To set up all the cool little jugs, you know, levitating around the place, all like the gold being piled up around, like the citadel of Kadim, right? Is probably completely custom, right? It's completely new, right? Like all the modeling that goes into that, like the terrain, the artwork, the texturing and stuff like that. Like this is a huge amount of work, right? And even creating something like Conjured Amalgamate, the way they actually ended up doing it is very difficult, right? It's like three separate bosses almost that all like intermingle. They showed it on a live stream once, right? So like to make that work was kind of funky right off the bat, right? To make it even work, right? But you know, still, I mean, it's a lot of work to make this stuff in the game. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about it. You know, it's I would like to see some stuff that maybe they don't put so much artistic effort into, I suppose. Or yeah, some more reused assets, right? That just have, you know, some cool bosses, you know, some cool fucking bosses.
Lore, like,
because I mean,
CA and Lagos had no lore basically almost. Like CA is the poltergeist to find the lamp, and Lagos are two Lagos. That's it.
Yeah,
They're part of the collection.
Yes.
Collection of rare creatures.
Hmm.
Yes.
But still, I mean, it's, you know, not an easy thing to make, is it? It should definitely. I don't know. I think I just maybe I don't know. I guess I'm just weird. I think content should be the focus, guys. Okay, I don't think sacrificing content to make it look real pretty, you know, is
100%.
not maybe what I'm looking for. T just wants content doesn't really care about the quality. No, not at all. Like the quality. The thing is, like the quality for me is mainly in the mechanics, Buka. Right? Okay, so Kadim is a quality product because he's a good fight, right? The same with Conjured Amalgamate. It's a good fight. In the same way, Veil Guardian, in my opinion, is a fantastic fight, even though he's kind of simple, right? If you remove like all the terrain around Veil Guardian, right, it's still a good fight. You know what I mean? Lagos. I mean, I actually think Lagos is a pretty good fight too.
I like Lagos CM.
Lagos CM is pretty good.
Should have been normal, to be honest.
Yeah. And you know what? The same is true of fractals, right? I mean, where are the fractal CMs, dude? I guess no one really does them.
Apparently now they want to have a raid of fractal, CM or not, we don't know, and a raid again. So next patch should be a fractal, hopefully.
Yes, I definitely.
Then a raid again.
Fractal.
Please,
Yeah.
no, but please do. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting you say that, because if they've gone out and said they want to do that, that's really good. Okay.
They said it somewhere
on
Reddit.
That's because people kind of have a schedule, and that's great. Okay, they can kind of delay it a bit. You know, maybe they delayed the episode because of the fractal or whatever, but then people kind of know when to expect stuff, and that's it. Kind of off topic, but it's just good communication, and that's something ArenaNet lacks.
It is, yeah.
Well, they just don't want to promise it, because if they say that's what we're gonna do, and then they miss the raid window, then people will flip their shit.
They're scared. Well, not scared. I mean, they're not there like ooh. They're worried about community blowback, right? And in a way, I guess the Guild Wars 2 community is a bit spoiled in that respect, right? Like, the devs never say shut the fuck up, you little bitch. Okay, like I'm sure they want to, right? Okay, but they don't, right? They'll always try and be nice to like the fucking crybabies, and that is problematic. I think sometimes the developers needs to like be forceful, and get your get their fucking massive ArenaNet fist, okay, and say, listen, players, okay, we know what the hell we're doing, okay, let us do our thing and enjoy the game, okay. Stop complaining about stuff just because we nerfed Ellie, okay, yeah, we did it, okay, and it deserved it. And that's what I want to see. That's what I want ArenaNet to say. I want it to go on the forums, okay, and say, look, we nerfed Chrono, it was OP, and they deserved it, okay? Chrono was stupid, guys, right? But yeah, the community is spoiled as fuck, dude. They're spoiled. They don't know how good they've got it. That's the problem with the community, dude. They don't know how good they have it in Guild Wars 2 land, okay? Try playing another MMO, okay? Come on. Just try it. It's not going to go well for you. Ashes of Creation. Nice! Okay?
I'd love to see some smackdowns in the PvP forums, like look up their rating, just say to them, yeah, buddy, you're in gold. Maybe you should just get better,
Just get better. Have you tried dodging, dude? Oh my god, that'll be extra spicy. To kind of go back on that point though, with regards to like the raids, I just think that if they release raids more frequently, it gives them more scope to. It gives them more scope to deal with stuff like easy mode and hard mode and changing raids in ways that would be better for the community, like with repeatable CMs, raids that are easier, raids that are one-offs, raids that are harder as well. If you release one raid every 6 months or every 10 months or whatever it's going to be, it's like, okay, here's the raid, and it takes them a long time before they can rectify any design problems with that raid, if that makes sense, right? So, so that wasn't very good about Wing 6, for example, okay? But in Wing 7, we're gonna make sure that isn't the case. But if they release raids more often, then it would be easier to do that, and it would also mean that if you have a Wing 4, right, where Wing 4 is super super easy, right, and that is slightly disappointing for a lot of players, right? You can then very quickly release some bosses that are hard, right? And they don't have to be at crazy lore, because of course Wing 4 is very lore heavy, right? A lot of story in there with Saul, stuff like that. But you could just release something that can please the more casual players. But then you have something to please the more hardcore players. You just release some, like fucking 2 hard bosses, right? Okay, which is basically Wing 5. Wing 5 is 2 hard bosses, right? It's Desmina, Doom, and 2, 3 legendary divinations. So that's.
How about challenge modes in Old Wings?
Now,
like CM Matthias Gabriel.
Yes. To be honest, this is where communication would really come in. I would love to have a chat with some developers about how hard it is to implement CMs. You know what I mean? I would love to have that, but that's never going to happen, right? That's never going to happen. There are so many questions and good conversations I think could be had with developers, but they just don't happen. Right. We just like there's I'm aware there's some, clandestine PvP discords, right? I just love to have like a clandestine raid discord, where you can have these conversations. How difficult is it to implement a CM? Like how much time did Doom CM take to make? Right, as compared to just making Doom or Desmina, that sort of thing. I think it would be really, really interesting to have the conversation. And again, it comes back to communication. Communication is really important, and not having it rustles players, and it's very unsatisfying, right? And I think challenge modes for old raids would be it seems that it would be easier than making new raid wings. But the thing is that if you make a CM for an old raid, you're going to deal with community outrage. But again, I kind of feel like there's got to be a point where ArenaNet have got to say, look, we know what we're doing, guys, okay? Didn't take us that long, assuming it didn't, right? And we're just adding this, some fresh content for you guys to try. Hard mode. I think
Imagine Harper KC, how bugged it is.
Well, maybe not Casey. Maybe not Casey.
I can have several ideas. Just ask me, and I have them. It's perfect.
Yeah. But yeah.
So you're fucked on the program, but I don't care. It's good.
Well, the other thing with regards to CMs, I don't really.
Sabotha permaflame wall.
Yeah, that would be cool though, right?
Yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know how much work that would take, but you know, that would be kind of fun. It seems to me like it wouldn't be something that requires a huge amount of work. And I say that very sparingly. Because these things can always be way more effort.
Yes,
but,
yeah. You know, it's hard to speculate, right, from our perspective because of how much knowledge we don't have, of course.
Yes. We lack the critical information.
We do. We absolutely do indeed. We do indeed. But you know, there's the obligatory raid rant. Okay, for this tea time, right? It's always got to complain about. So we've gone all the way from the snowman raids to adding CMs in old raids. That's what I like to see, boys. That's what I love. Yeah. Anything that will be repeatable, like adding repeatable rewards for just grinding out raid bosses. I mean, all this stuff could be added, but again, it just because there is no way to have the dialogue. I mean, I guess like should I post on the forums, guys? Is there raids forums actually? Because I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
Retards.
I don't know anything about the forums, man, because the forums is a bit of a well, what should we call the forums? It's not the best place to have a constructive discussion, shall we?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about easy mode raids with people that have never raided, then sure, you can get a great discussion going on there.
We want to get banned.
Yeah, you'll get banned for sure.
Yeah.
There's people with room temperature IQs on there that are just like
Fahrenheit to Celsius.
Struggling. Fahrenheit.
Okay.
Celsius, that would be hard to survive.
Oh boy, yeah. I don't know if it worked. Okay, maybe I'll post on the forums and see if I get a dev response actually, but I probably won't.
I wouldn't try. You're better off just trying to speak to people through Discord, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Feels bad, man. Just like the ArenaNet show match did. Yeah, no, actually, let's not go there. Anyway, I don't know. Is there anything else in this patch that happened? Have we got anything else we want to talk about?
If a gecko, it's very cute.
The gecko.
I want to make my appeal to ArenaNet balance team to buff Power Berserker so that it's a viable DPS.
Same with PvP, buff Berserker.
Yeah,
nerf confusion a bit.
Yeah, actually nerfing confusion in all game modes.
Bring it back to the bleeding one. It was way better.
Oh no. On skill. Well, of course, because it's fucking stupid.
Yes, but like giving confusion back to old level is like buffing Mirage everywhere, but nerfing it where it's extremely broken, so it's fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, just an aside, actually, the thing about Mirage in PvE, right, is that I don't know. There's just weird balance issues in raids, right? Where you want Mirages, you want only Mirages. You know what I mean? Like where you want this class. In fact, like it's so good on Lagos, right? That even like considering taking anything else is kind of like, well, I mean, you're not going to do nearly as much damage. Like, yeah, nice meme, dude. You know, like, yeah, get wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. Which is a bit, you know, like Mirage needs to have something else on its own. Like the confusion should be an added bonus, right? Not like this is going to dominate all of your DPS and like every other DPS is going to get crushed, you know?
And this is the problem where, you know, class identity ArenaNet seems to be really big on, and therefore they just keep on pushing it. And, you know, whilst Mirage they want to keep the class identity of Mirage, it's always going to be fucking broken because it's like core mechanic, its identity are interlinked, and that's just over the top in every way.
Yeah, and that is not something that's going to get changed, right? I believe, weren't you talking about? Wasn't there some interaction with the developer, and they said like, we won't even consider changing like when Mirage can dodge and stuff like that during what actions it can dodge during?
Yeah, I can't remember where that was, but yeah,
yeah,
big, yeah, just and they did that was a bit. bit of a letdown.
Yeah. With certain class core mechanics are inherent problems in certain game modes, right? And in a way, like the only way to fix them, I'd even say that Firebrand almost falls under this category, right? That you just need to like remove it, right? If you won't change the core mechanics, you won't change the power level of the abilities and situations themselves, then you just have to like say, nope, can't play that in this game mode. We're gonna Smiter's boon it. Okay, Tome 3 now has a 5-minute cooldown in PvP only. Okay, there you go. Like, have fun with that one, Firebrands. Gotta wait 300 seconds. Oh god. Oh dear. Now that would be quite funny, actually, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's the thing. But honestly, guys, it really isn't all doom and gloom. Overall, the balance is pretty solid, right? I would say it's pretty solid balance, right? The game is in a good spot, especially in PvE, right? Well, especially, I guess it's okay. It's okay in PvP as well, but it's just 2 F3s a match, exactly, dude. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, we're gonna remove Firebrand. Yeah, but it's okay. Certainly in PvE, it's much improved in PvE, to be honest. The only game mode that I think has got changes that are maybe not so good was World versus World, really, but it just wasn't taken into consideration. So there you go. If you care about balancing Firebrand, don't do it by changing corners. Horrible idea. Yeah, but I think I think at some point you have to say, like, is it even balanceable without changing core mechanics? And I don't think core mechanics are likely to get changed. And maybe it's time just to remove it, Frosty. That's the thing, right? Then you can actually get the job done.
I think that's the trend of the PoE specs, right? The core mechanics are more exciting than they were in HOT, but also they're very much more broken. Tomes, or being able to just instantly dodge no matter what you do, and being able to use skills whilst you're dodging on Mirage. All of that stuff. It's just very over the top.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And what do I mean by core mechanics? Core mechanics, like the fact that it has as much stability, it has this instant res capability, it has all the defensive boons, right? But it also has like a shit ton of CC that it can do. And yeah, right, you know what I mean? That's the problem. It can just do everything that a support needs to do. It can res people really easy. Its res trait is great. It has really good boon application for everything, like stability in particular. I think resistance has also got a bit of a resistance get a little bit of an extra little bonus meme there as well. It's that kind of baseline thing, right, that needs to be addressed, right? They aren't Firebrand. Well, they kind of are. It's just, what we mean is, Frosty, is that we think it's very unlikely that those abilities themselves are going to change, right? You know what I mean? They're not going to change Tome 4 to do something else other than resistance, right? It's always going to do that. And you're not going to change all the stability. Like, no matter how short the duration is on this stuff, it's still going to apply stability, right? That's but the actual abilities themselves need to be changed, right? If you want to like make it, if you want to avoid just adding cooldowns to it, you have to change that, right? Otherwise, you're left with only stuff like that, and that's kind of sad, right? I had a fun interaction with a Mesmer earlier. I landed a hammer 5 on him, and he went invuln and nuked me for 9k.
I think, to be honest, Citadel should have just dodged. Just dodged the attack.
He should have full countered it, dude, is what he should have done. Okay, he should have full countered it. Yeah, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Yeah, just dodge. He needed to be the escape lord, I think. Angeels, right, is what he really needed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
He needed to be the escape lord.
Should have balls rushed out of there.
Yeah, hammering it to death is better than doing nothing too. I think that's what is trying to happen, right? Just like saying, like, no, we need to remove the aids. But you have to remove all the other aids as well. That's kind of the key. You can't just go halfway. You got to go all the way. But yeah. Other than that, I mean, that's basically it for the patch, right, guys? The Wintersday happened. You can do all the snow stuff. I've been doing all the Wintersday things. It's kind of fun, actually. You know what was annoying though? Is the doing like Tix's Infinarium is still kind of annoying, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's you have to do all these stupid things like finding and the plant food took ages to spawn, man. I was getting my plant food. That wasn't really that good. I had to chase down loads of presents. I guess it's way quicker with 5 people. I did it with 2 people because I was ERPing. So that was, nowhere near fast. And then Tox died instantly as well. I was hoping to actually have a fight, but Tox died instantly. That was kind of sad. But dude, you know what's fun? Toypocalypse. Okay? That's fucking good shit, right? Toypocalypse. is the good shit. All right, okay. You have to build. Yeah, I actually had fun doing that, guys. All right, call me a casual, okay. But I actually very much enjoyed doing Toypocalypse this year, guys. I still have to do it 3 more times as well, okay? And all you've got to do is, you've got to put down your little catapults and build the ice walls. You know what's annoying? The only thing I don't like about Toypocalypse, guys, a few balance problems, okay? I really don't like it. Okay, you can't put loads of ice walls next to each other. What the fuck's up with that, dude? It's fucking bullshit, okay? I wanted to make like a full ice fortification all the way around the yaks, but you actually can't do that. You just have to keep massing up snowmen and catapults, and that is rubbish. Okay, that is rubbish. Okay, Toypocalypse residency. But what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Okay.
You know, I'm a little disappointed by the infusion, though. Not
Oh,
really.
that is hot garbage.
Oh,
literally.
my God.
They could have called it the garbage infusion, and it would have like still been an appropriate name for what it.
That is just that is rubbish. I don't even know what they were thinking with this infusion. Like, does anyone like this? Does anyone in the chat enjoy?
How does it look like on a chart? I might get it just to be 8.
Who likes the toy infusion, guys? Seriously, let's talk about this. Does anyone like it? Anyone?
Me, smiley face.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Nice.
It looks horrible. Actually,
Yeah.
some people, you know, I feel like ArenaNet is almost trolling us, dude. Like, they're doing it because they know that some people like really
Jesus
bad
Christ,
infusions, you know? Yeah, some people like making their character look incredibly horrific and just completely ugly in every way, right? That's
Look at this.
I'm having a look.
It's a charm of the thing. God, this.
What the
Oh
fuck?
my god.
What
It
this?
looks like you know what it's like? It looks like vomit. Like
It looks like a
cat
fucking
vomit.
dog turd that's like been out in the sun and turned white because it like. Oh my god.
Yeah. The infusion is not good. Yeah, it's pretty much irredeemable, I think. I was already hoping to farm a load of cash, because of course I opened up all the Blackline keys, right? And I got loads of gifts and opened up all those gifts. I didn't even get 1 infusion, by the way, in 500 Blackline gifts, which is really sucks, okay? So I didn't really get that lucky there. But I did get my infinite upgrade extractor, so I made that cash, guys. I made that cash. Feels good, man. But yeah, not the best infusion, unfortunately. And apparently, the Wintersday chests this year are a massive scam. The Wintersday gifts, they're a massive scam. If you open loads of them, your gold is gone, right? It's not even close to the actual valuation.
I think
dude.
I opened something like 10,000 yesterday.
Yeah?
Nah, it's not worth it at all. I wouldn't bother.
Yeah, it's actually quite sad, because I was gonna do a big opening, right? I was gonna do a big opening of all of them, right? With with 100k or something like that. But shit didn't happen, man. Shit did not happen, unfortunately, because it just wasn't worth it, you know. And it's a shame, because the Halloween ones were actually good. Like I opened something like 85,000 of those or something like that, and I actually broke even, right? It works over on trigger. Yeah, exactly. It actually did work, though. That's the thing, Ben. I actually broke even, or maybe even made a little bit of profit. To be fair, I was cheating, because people did send me some bags, but I did end up actually ended up with more gold than I actually started with on this trigger. I didn't even get the Ember infusion, man. Fucking bullshit, man. Okay? Honestly, I blame Ben for that. Ben was rigging my RNG.
You've rigged it in my favor, dude.
Yeah, because you got it. You got it really easily, right? In just like a few thousand or something. And even Jaw, okay, right, beat me, okay? And in like 5k bags, he beat my ass with it. It's unbelievable, dude. I have an 85k, not even 1 Ember infusion. Fucking bullshit, okay? But hey.
You know what I think the problem is with the Wintersday infusions? You know, with the Halloween, you had something like 6 infusions you could get. And they were all different tiered. You know, the colored ones were clearly more common, but they were still valuable. And that kind of meant that you could always sort of break even given enough bags. And that was good. It felt rewarding. But you still had the super rare Ember. I think with the Wintersday, they're all like super rare. And therefore a lot less common. And, you know, it feels a lot less rewarding to get anything. To open them, in fact.
Yeah, pretty much, because it's more of an all or nothing, right? And an all or nothing is not as fun as like a more graded one. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And that's certainly the case with the Wintersday one. You either get nothing and you get crippling depression, or you get 2K gold. You know, check out this Lego Santa, guys. Look at this. This was in the Lego Advent calendar from last year. It's good shit, dude. It's good shit. He's on my desk right now. Very festive. Oh wait, where's his hat? Oh, his hat fell off actually. Okay, now he's got his hat back on. There we go. Oh, he's got a little hat too. There you go, boys. There we go. Oh yeah, he's got the little festive cap. But yeah, he's also getting keyed out because he's a bit too yellow, you know. Yeah, there you go. Wintersday gifts, guys. Do not open. If you open them, well, it doesn't work out so well for you. Okay, it really doesn't. You know, you get absolutely memed. You get memed into oblivion, my friends. Unfortunately. But yeah, that's it for Wintersday, pretty much. I think that's basically it. Do we have any final thoughts, guys, on this patch in general? Otherwise, I think it's time to run away and I can go back to sleep. Feels good, man, because I am tired. Nice.
I'd say the patch feels okay, man.
Yes.
Yeah. Feels okay, man.
5 out of 7.
5 out of 7.
5 out of 7.
Yeah.
8 out of 10 Chronos used. It's
Okay. All right. I'll probably, because I'm a bit of an optimist, I'll give it 6 out of 10. Okay. You know what? I think we should give ArenaNet positive reinforcement. Okay. You know how it's like the opposite of what I do in raids. In raids, I just flame people. But you know what? In the context of this, we've got to give them a good rating with some little claps as well. Okay, some good claps, because I want them to do it again. Okay, I want them to do it again so I don't have to quit the game and go to Ashes of Creation. Yeah. Do you know what my new guild is called, by the way, guys? Okay, this is slightly foolish. We're doing a Salt V2, okay, but with Salt without the leeches. Okay, we're de-leeching Salt, and
I'm not sure how long that's going to last, dude.
The current placeholder name for the guild, and because I haven't come up with a good name yet, good hilarious meme name. It's actually Ashes of Creation Waiting Room. That's it. That's the name of the guild. So now hopefully that doesn't end up being the case.
I think you're gonna fail with this because there's so many people that you like as people, but that are in Salt, that when they're like, "Hey, can you carry me in the raid with your new guild?" You're gonna be like, "Sure, why not?" And then they're gonna sabotage the new guild too. It's just gonna happen. The hard part's gonna be saying no.
Oh my god, what the fuck is this?
What the fuck?
Jesus Christ, what the fuck, mods? Holy shit.
Dude,
I cannot ban so fast. I'm
Monka
sorry.
S, dude. Yeah, that's a only mode. Whoa, okay. Alright. Yeah, let's calm down there, buddy. You might wanna not do something like that. That's
I bet it was the guy that you ruined the raid of.
Probably. Right, there's some very salty people right now, actually, guys. Fucking hell. But anyway, all right, that'll do that. Let's get that tidied away real quick, and it's time to move on to some good old-fashioned chilling because the time of the stream has unfortunately passed. It is time for us to depart, my friends. And before we do that, you have to actually learn one more final thing. And the thing you have to learn is, who is everyone who was on the stream, guys? Holy shit. I don't know. I just called random people I found in Discord. So let's fucking go. First of all, the man who was actually made out of hexagons, okay? The creator of metabattle.com.
No.
It's Angeels.
Yes, it is me. Hello. I made gods of PvP.net, not that other shitty site. Updated soon. Cool. Yeah. Good shit. PvP streams. Usually drunk.
Okay. All right. There you go. And let's see. Top left. With the bike, always on the lookout, okay, to dispense justice to the casuals, okay? One burning the Octovine, and one burning the hopes and dreams of non-elitist players. It's Nike DNT.
Hello. Yeah, for the most part, I'm a Zwift streamer now because, I don't know, Guild Wars 2, there's one day a week of content, so that's what I do. I'll stream that when I can, but I'm very close to the Tron bike in Zwift, which is a very big accomplishment, so I'll get that in the next 3 weeks. So stick around for more bike-related content.
Oh fuck yeah, the Angels link is wrong because you changed it. Fuck, I didn't change
Like
that.
a year ago, dude.
Yeah, I know, and well, didn't you get debated by a Twitch partner as well because they like
Yeah,
reviewed the old one? That is fucking funny, dude. Holy shit, that is actually really funny. But yes, there you go. Nike, Zwift streamer, Zwift Guild Wars 2 hybrid, and finally, he goes by many names. Okay, every single day, a brand new name involving Nico in some way. But for the purposes of this tea time, it's SC Nico, Snowcrow's Nico.
Hello.
What can you tell us about Mesmer? Okay, what's
Apparently,
going on?
I'm a good Mesmer, Chrono player. I don't stream. I have a YouTube channel. I don't update that often. And that's it. Oh, my name's Snowcross, by the way. I have
There
a
you
god
go.
complex.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
the god. That's what. Is that why you play Mesmer? So you can have all the clones just worship you. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
I
there
like
you
that.
go.
Worship me.
So those are all of our fine guests we've had on today, and of course, I'm not a guest because I'm always here because I've got nothing better to do, I guess. And if you enjoyed the stream, guys, tea time is it's every week, mostly, usually on time as well. Absolutely fantastic, guys, incredibly good stuff. But yep, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Follow it if you did. Subscribe if you really like the stream and you want to do that shit. Want to support the epic content, okay? That we have here every day. Do loads of raids. Hopefully some PvP ATs as well, but I don't know about that. We're encountering a few technical difficulties, you could say, I suppose.
Yes.
But yeah, follow, subscribe, follow me on Twitter as well, and all of that sort of thing. Okay, and YouTube as well. Balanced reviews, Blackline keys, okay, hopefully guides at some point as well. It's all going to be there, guys. It's all going to be there. Amazing stuff. But yeah, that's it for us, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. There's the shill bits from Ben as well.